A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
How do you think you got along in that history exam today?
All right, I think. Professor Custis doesn't ask such tough questions.
Gee, I thought he did. I don't know how I got along. I can't say I like these midterm exams very much.
Oh, just think what they lead up to, my pal. Vacation. 10 whole days of vacation. Whoopee!
I guess you're right. Hey, what are you going to do during vacation, Lee?
I don't know yet. I think maybe I'll just loaf around here. Take some hikes up here off the canyon. Do some rowing and read at night. Maybe once in a while taking a movie. You're going to the circus winter quarters, aren't you?
Yep. Mr. Randall's coming up for the exercises the end of this week, and then we're going back together. Golly, I'll be glad to see all the folks there. Bumps and Major Mite and Olson and Whitey and Jim Bennett.
Who's he, Jerry? I don't think you mentioned him before.
Jim Bennett? Oh, he's Mr. Randall's business manager.
Oh. Yeah, I guess it will be fun for you to see all your old friends again.
Oh, it sure will. Well, I'm ready. Are you?
Just about. Wait till I get this sweatshirt on. There. Okay, come on.
Righto.
You sound like Bruce.
Thank you, my friend. I meant to.
I'm certainly anxious to get started in rowing practice, aren't you?
Ah, you bet. Say, I'll make you guys really work out there.
Oh, you will, huh?
Yeah, man. That's the coxswain's job, isn't it?
Well, maybe. But the coach is the real boss.
Oh, sure, I know that. He tells me what to do, then I tell the crew what to do. For once, Cadet Phillips, I'll be able to really boss you around. I'll get back at you for all the times you made me pour water for you in the mess hall.
Okay.
Oh, say, there's Ted Metcalf.
Yeah, he's coming down this way.
Uh-huh.
Hey, just a minute, Lee.
Hey, he's calling to you. Hey, do we salute? I never can remember.
No, Jerry, we're not in uniform. Just stand at attention till he gives us at ease. Yes, sir.
At ease, men. Heading for crew turnout?
Yes, sir.
Good. Captain Rowland's anxious to have a good bunch of recruits. You're pretty light, though, aren't you, Jerry?
I guess I would be for the crew, sir, but Captain Rowland said I could turn out for coxswain.
Oh, I see. Well, Lee, I was just on my way over to Hayward Hall to get you. Major Davis wants to see you.
Oh, right now, sir?
Yes. He knows you won't be in uniform, but he said it was all right to go over just as you are.
Oh, all right, sir. Thank you. Well, I'll see you at the boathouse later, Jerry.
Okay.
Come on, Jerry. I'll go down to the boathouse with you. I'd like to see the first turnout.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and forget the sir for the time being.
Okay, thanks, Dad. Yeah, I wonder what Major Davis wants to see Lee about.
I don't know, but it must be pretty important, or else he wouldn't have kept him away from crew practice.
Yeah. I hope it isn't anything bad.
You bet, so do I.
Well, find out later. Say, are you going to turn out for the crew too, Ted?
No, football's my sport. And that's all over now.
What do you mean it's all over?
Well, this is my last year, Jerry. I'm going on to state college next year. Well, I guess I'll be playing freshman college there.
Oh, gee, that's swell. I didn't mean it was swell that you're leaving Farrell's, but...
I know what you mean. You think you'll be going to college when you finish here at Farrell's?
Oh, I don't know yet. It's a little too soon to plan that far ahead.
Well, I hope you're able to make it. I suppose Lee's got his college or university all picked out, hasn't he?
Well, I don't know that either, Ted. We haven't talked about it. I guess he'll be going somewhere, though. He's a good student.
Yes, I know he is. Say, Bruce Doc Campbell was telling me that when you fellas were over at Mac's place yesterday afternoon, Mac told you something about a big secret he has.
Yes, he did.
Oh, what is it, do you know?
No. Of course, he was pretty disappointed, I think, when he found out somebody had beat him to it on inventing that altimeter.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe his new secret is another invention. He's got a kind of a laboratory fixed up in the back of his place where he's been sort of monkeying around with chemicals.
Oh, is that so? I didn't know that. Say, isn't that kind of dangerous for an old fellow like Mac to be playing around with chemicals when he really doesn't know anything about them?
Maybe it is, but he says he's been reading up on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, here we are.
Yeah, go ahead, Ted.
Oh, thanks. Hey, quite a crowd here for the first turnout.
Yeah. Gee, it doesn't look like there's going to be much chance for a beginner.
Oh, don't talk that way, Jerry. A lot of these cadets here are just beginning, too.
They are?
Why, certainly. And those who have been out before have to begin sometime.
I suppose you're right.
Well, hello, Metcalf.
Oh, good afternoon, Captain Rowland.
Hey, don't tell me we're to have the honor of Fair Oak's big football star turning out for the crew.
No, sir, I wish I could. Well, I've got too much to do for the rest of the term to graduate. Oh, Captain Rowland, this is Cadet Jerry Dugan.
Yes, Dugan and I have met. How are you today, son?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Where's your roommate, Jerry? Isn't Lee going to turn out?
Oh, yes, sir. But he had to go over to see Major Davis right now. He'll be here a little later.
Fine. Well, we might as well get started. All right, boys. Line up in 4 lines right across the boathouse. Careful now not to bump into any of those shells. You have to handle those with kid gloves. All right, quiet now. Attention. Now, all we're going to do today is get limbered up a bit. Then I'm going to tell you something about this sport you're turning out for. Spread out, arm's length, so your fingertips are just touching. All right. Raise your arms above your head slowly and inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. Way in. Hold it. Exhale. All right. Raise your hands to the front above your heads on the count of 1. Bend over and touch the floor on the count of 2. Rise on 3. Hands at the side on 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, halt. Now a little stationary running. Ready? Fast now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher, Benton. Way up. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now faster. Detail. Halt. All right, boys. At ease. All right, quiet, please. Now, boys, you're turning out for one of the greatest, cleanest sports I know of. There isn't any actual physical combat, I know. In fact, you're almost always yards away from your opponents. But to me, there's no thrill greater than hearing that gun at the start and watching the bow of one shell nose ahead inch by inch past another. The training's hard, of course. Rigid discipline, no late hours, lots of exercise, and strict diet. You won't be able to eat all the things the rest of the cadets eat. You'll have to sit at a special training table.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes, Dugan?
Is there a water corporal at the training table?
Oh, I think we can arrange for you to continue with that honor. Now, I'm going to ask 8 of you last year men to get into this land shell and show the new cadets what our stroke looks like. Merrick, you take coxswain. Jock, bow. Harry, number 2. Wheaton, 3.
Yes, sir.
Sullivan, 4. The rest of you boys gather around here. Parker, 5.
Say, Ted, have you seen Lee?
No, I haven't, Jerry.
7.
I guess he's still up in Custis Hall with Major Davis.
All right.
Yeah, but I sure wish he'd get here. He's missing a lot of important stuff.
Oh, well, you can tell him all about it later. Now, you better get over there and watch how Jay Merrick handles this crew.
All right, boys.
Thanks, Dad.
Watch this now. Don't only watch one of the rowers. You boys who are going to turn out for coxswain, watch Merrick.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Merrick. Take a slow stroke about 25.
Yes, sir. Ready? Throw.
Watch that easy slide back, boys.
Throw.
You see? That equipment is worked out so that the fulcrum, that is the oar lock,
Throw.
is so placed that the balance between the stroke of the rower and the resistance of the water on the oar gives the greatest degree of leverage.
Go.
All right, Merrick. Way enough.
Way enough.
All right, now. You boys who are turning out for rowing, report to Roy Shock over in that corner. And you boys for coxswain, go with Pee Wee Merrick over there. Ask any questions you want to. Okay, go ahead.
Come on, gang. Now, what questions?
Pee-wee,
Yeah, Jerry?
I'd like to know what those little wooden blocks are for. The ones you hit the side of the boat with.
Shell, Jerry, shell.
Oh, yeah, shell.
Well, those blocks on a real shell are attached to the ropes on the side onto the rudder. I bang them against the sides of the shell to give them more of a punch to the stroke. Then, if I see that the crew stroke is lagging, I bang them fast, like this. Stroke, stroke. Come on, stroke. And so forth, see?
Oh, yeah, I see. Hey, that's swell.
Well, how are you getting along over here?
Fine, sir.
Well, that'll be all for today. You cadets turning out for coxswain for the first time report tomorrow afternoon at this same time to Merrick for further instructions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're dismissed.
Okay, let's go.
Say, Ted,
Yes, Jerry.
where in the heck do you suppose Lee is? Gee, he should have been here.
He's here.
Huh? He is? Well, why didn't he come into the boathouse?
I don't know, Jerry. I tried to get him to come in, but he said he'd wait until the turnout was dismissed. He wanted to talk with Captain Rowland about something. Jerry, I think something's wrong.
Wrong? Well, where's Lee now?
Here he is. He's coming in now. He must have seen the other fellows leaving.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, excuse me, Lee.
Oh, sure, Jerry. Go ahead.
Lee?
Hello, Jerry. How'd it go today?
Oh, swell. You should have been here.
Yeah? Where's Captain Rowland?
He's right over there talking to those older crewmen. Do you want to talk to him?
I'll wait a minute till he gets through.
What's the matter, Lee?
Oh, I'll tell you all about it later. You go on and get your shower. I'll wait for you outside the gym here.
Well, okay, Lee. I'll be in the shower room then.
Yeah, okay.
How are you, Lee?
Oh, well, hello, Ted. You turning out for crew this year?
No, I'm not. I just walked down here with Jerry to watch the turnout. But aren't you turning out?
No, I'm not turning out.
You're not. Well, Lee, what's the trouble? Something Major Davis told you?
Oh, Ted, it's awful.
What's awful, Lee? What is it?
Oh, I'm going to have to leave Fair Oaks.
The Jack Benny Program, presented by Lucky Strike.
In a
cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And today, tomorrow, always...
LSMFT.
No doubt about it. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, and fine tobacco is what counts in a cigarette. So remember...
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, fine tobacco.
Season after season, at market after market, independent tobacco experts, auctioneers, buyers, and warehousemen can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Real Lucky Strike tobacco that means a fine smoke for you.
Yes, for your own real deep-down smoking enjoyment, smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw. American. The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bet you often wondered what happens immediately after a program goes off the air. Well, let's go back to last Sunday. Jack Benny has just finished his broadcast.
Okay, Phil, okay, cut it. Cut it, Phil, we're off the air. Well, folks, how did you like the program? Well, I'm glad you did. Ladies and gentlemen, you were a wonderful audience, just wonderful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all here in the studio again.
You'll never see me again, Bub.
What?
I wouldn't sit through another one of your shows if I was in the front row. Your guest star was Sally Rand. Her balloon had a slow leak, and my wife wasn't with me.
Well. Look here, mister. You're too fresh. You'll never get tickets to my show again.
What tickets? Last night I'm walking down the street, a guy throws a sack over my head, gives me a bump on the noggin, and when I come to, I'm sitting here in the studio.
Gee, I know my producer wants all the seats filled, but I wish he'd stop using that blackjack, you know?
Jack, you mean to say the only way you can get an audience is to have your producer go around hitting people on the head?
Well...
Gosh, and I always thought before we go on the air that bong, bong, bong were chimes.
No. No, Mary, that's 3 more coming in. Last week, one guy's head was out of tune and loused up the whole network. But we just give them a light tap on the head. It only raises a little bump.
Little bump?
Yeah.
My bump's got snow on it.
I mean, well, don't blame the weather on me. Anyway, mister, the show is over, so you can go.
Okay. This is the last time I pass NBC without a helmet.
All right.
Say, Jackson, I'm going to run along now.
Oh, just a minute, Phil. I want to talk to you.
What is it this time?
Well, Phil, I can see now why that guy and the rest of the audience have no respect for our show.
Why? What did I do?
Phil, do you have to have that bottle of bourbon sitting on the table right next to you while you're leading the band?
Certainly. When I use my hand to give the boys a downbeat, I ain't going to bring it up empty.
What?
Can I go now, Jackson? The ice in my pocket is melting.
Phil, I can't understand you. Standing out here on the stage in front of an intelligent audience. 350 people with bumps on their heads. And you act that way. I can't understand you at all.
Nobody can understand me, Jackson. I'm a character. People love me for what I am.
For what you are. Phil, that and Where Elephants Go to Die are the 2 unsolved mysteries of the universe. Believe me. But look, Phil, I'm not asking for good music. All I'm asking is that you and your orchestra look dignified. This is a big radio show. Tell your boys to take down that clothesline they got strung across the stage there.
That's no clothesline. That's a direct wire to Santa Anita.
Santa Anita? Now cut that out! What a bunch of guys. Phil, look at that new violinist you got sitting there during the whole program wearing a derby.
Derby, that's a bump on his head. I have trouble getting people, too.
That I'm sure of.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Jack, why don't you stop picking on Phil? As long as I've been with you, you've had trouble with your orchestra leaders.
Me?
Yeah, I'll never forget how mad you got at Johnny Green when he wanted to put 4 clarinets in the orchestra.
Well, that's where you're wrong, sister. Even though I was paying for it, I had no objection to Johnny Green adding 4 clarinets.
I know, but you made him hire one man with a wide mouth.
Well, I thought it would be novel.
And oh boy, what George Olson went through with you. He even took a swing at you.
So what? I was plenty fast, wasn't I?
I'll say you were fast. By the time Olson took off his coat and rolled up his sleeves, you ran out of the building, took an eye test, and came back wearing a pair of glasses.
Oh, Mary, why do you say things like that? You know very well that I try to help everybody on my program.
Some help. You even cut my song out today.
Believe me, Mary, people ought to know what I go through just to put on a show.
We'd like to cut my song out every week.
You know, Mary, there's a lot more to a radio program. Than just talking into a microphone.
If my mother was here, she'd punch him right in the nose.
What?
Glasses or no glasses?
Dennis, what are you mumbling about?
What? Oh, hello, Mr. Benny.
Hello.
Gee, what a coincidence. I was just talking about you.
I know, I heard you. What's wrong?
You cut my song out today.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, kid. I had to do it because of time. But you can do the song next week.
How do you know you like it? You didn't even hear it.
Well, all right, let's hear it now.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Pardon me, Mr. Benny.
What?
I say, pardon me, Mr. Benny.
Oh, hello, Mr. Kitzel.
Hello.
Oh, hold it a minute, Dennis. Yeah, I thought you were never going to get here. I was going to do half of last week's show over again. The part that was good. But, hold it a minute, Dennis. Look, if you came to see my show, Mr. Kitzel, you're a little late. You know, we just went off the air.
Oh, that's all right. I was sitting in my car.
Well, did you like the program?
Did I like your program? I missed it.
You missed it? Oh, I see.
But I was in here to see your show last week.
Good. Where'd you get the ticket?
Who needs tickets? I was nonchalantly walking down the street when all of a sudden somebody threw a sack over me. I got a bump on my head, and the next thing I knew, somebody is whispering in my ear, "Welcome to the NBC."
Well, I'm sorry you missed the program today, but maybe you can come back next week.
I'll try. By the way, Mr. Benny, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, will you please give me an autograph for my nephew?
Your nephew?
Yes, he's been in the Army 4 years and he's visiting me from Oahu.
Oh, from, Honolulu, Oahu?
No, Cleveland, Oahu.
That's Ohio.
Oh.
Anyway, here you are, Mr. Kitzel. Here's my autograph.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye, Mr. Kitzel.
Goodbye.
Try to get here earlier next time. Come on, Dennis. Dennis, let's have your song. I want to...
On the night we were wed, we found our true love. Oh, a word wasn't said, the world was in gloom, there were stars in the skies, except for the few that were there in your eyes. Dear, as I held you so close in my arms, angels were singing a hymn to your charms. Hark gently beating were murmured that sweet moment sublime, we'd find that our love is on altar by time. Dear, if I held you so close in my arms, angels were singing a hymn to your charms, to heart gently beating were murmuring low. Darling, I love you.
A swell song, Dennis. Very, very good. Come on, Mary. I'll take you home now.
Okay.
Will you drop me off on the way, Mr. Benny?
Sure, kid, sure. Come on, let's go. You know, Dennis, that certainly was a swell number, the anniversary song. Would you like to sing it at my birthday party next week?
Sure, Mr. Benny. How old are you going to be?
53.
38. Mary, he asked me. I'm 38, Dennis.
Gosh, I'm 26 and I'm worried.
Why?
Look what can happen to me in just 12 years.
Well, don't worry about it, kid. Everything will be all right. Oh, say, kids, before we start for home, let's go in the drugstore here and get a soda. Huh?
Okay.
Here are 3 stools here. Let's sit here.
All right.
Oh, there's that same soda clerk. I can't stand him.
Well, my heart didn't go pitter-patter when you came in, Blue Eye.
I don't know why he hates me. So just take our orders. What have you got?
We have sodas, parfaits, flip, sundaes, malt, sherbet, orangeade, and Dr. Scholl's foot pads.
What are the Dr. Scholl's foot pads for?
For our ice cream corns. I knew you'd ask me.
Oh, brother, I'd like to point him out to my producer.
Waiter, give me a chocolate soda.
Yes, ma'am.
What about you, Dennis?
Give me a banana split. I hate them, but I've got to have something expensive now that I've got my own show.
Oh, fine.
And what are you going to have, Headless Valley?
Look, clerk, why is it I can...
Oh, Jack, let it go. Just give him your order.
Okay, give me a vanilla ice cream soda.
Say, Jack, have you ever seen one of those soda clerks who can throw the ice cream up in the air and catch it in the glass?
I can do that.
You can?
Certainly. What's this? Miss, sorry.
Where did it go?
Don't look now, but you got a toupee a la mode.
What? You mean that scoop of ice cream is on my head? Waiter, do something about it.
All right.
What's taking you so long?
I'm putting a cherry on top.
A cherry?
Would you mind sitting in our window a couple of days?
No, I'm not making any personal appearances this year.
Okay, here are your drinks, folks.
I don't know why it is I always have to run into him. How's your soda, Mary?
Well.
Dennis, don't eat your banana split so fast.
I want to finish it before I get sick.
That's the silliest thing I ever heard. You know, Mary, this vanilla soda is very good.
Mine was, too. Well, I'm all finished.
Me, too.
You're through with your soda, aren't you, Jack?
Just a minute. There's a little left at the bottom. I've only got one show. You know.
Oh, Jack, come on.
Just a minute.
If you strike oil, the glass belongs to me.
Never mind.
How much is the check, sir?
65 cents.
No, Dennis, I'll pay for it.
No, Mr. Benny, I'll pay for it.
No, Dennis, let me pay for it.
Careful, Jack. He may take you up on that.
Huh?
Remember me? I'm your guardian angel. I was here to stop you from paying this check.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you kept me from drinking that iodine last week.
Yes, and now I'm saving you from a fate worse than death.
What?
I've gotten you out of situations like this many times before.
You have?
Oh, yes. Remember that night in Ciro's when you were having dinner with all those movie stars?
Uh-huh.
Well, it was I who took the check away from you and gave it to Margaret O'Brien.
Gee, and I thought the wind did that, huh? But why are you always trying to save my money for me, Angel?
Well, you see, we angels need money, too.
You do?
Yes, and we figured if anybody would find a way to take it with them, it would be you. By the way, Jack, I wish you'd stop telling everybody you're only 38 years old.
But why, Angel? Why?
Well, every time you tell a little fib, it thunders up where we are.
Oh.
And around your birthday, we can't hear ourselves think.
Really?
Yes. Even though your birthday is on St. Valentine's Day, it sounds like the 4th of July.
Well, I'll try and watch it. You know, sometimes, Angel,
Jack, who are you talking to?
Huh?
Why don't you stop mumbling to yourself?
Mary, I wasn't mumbling to myself. I was talking to my... Oh, you wouldn't believe it anyway. Come on, kids, let's go. There's my car over there.
Oh, Jack.
Huh? Oh, what is it, Don?
Jack, you left the studio so fast I didn't get a chance to talk to you about next week's commercial.
Well, Don, we can talk about that later.
But, Jack, I've got your quartet here, the Sportsmen, and I want you to hear a new arrangement.
Don, not out here on the street corner. People will think we're crazy. Go away, fellas. Go away. Fellas, look, not out here. Look, Don, this is no place to rehearse a commercial. Not out on the street.
But, Jack...
You can let me hear it Saturday when we come back to the studio.
Jack, it'll only take a minute.
Out on the street. I mean, a crowd is gathering.
All right, take it, boys. Tico.
Tico?
Tico, take a look.
Look.
OLSMFT, the cigarette for me. OLSMFT.
Don, people are gathering.
And it's a fully packed, so it's a free and easy on the dream. OLSMFT, OLMNOP. A lucky strike is on there really into room. For that graffiti Rick can make it come to to sing with LSMFT boom. Oh, LSMFT, you are my alma mater. And when you're smoking lucky strikes, you got her.
Don, people are gathering.
Lucky from the flashies. And you should always keep a package in your baggies. Oh, LSMFT, I love you. And there's no other cigarette I know above you. Oh, LSMFT.
Don, that was the most embarrassing thing you've ever done to me, right here on the street. You're making a monkey out of me. Now go away, fellas, go away. Listen, the people are hollering. They're not going to sing anymore.
Oh, yes, they are.
Don, stop looking. Don, the people are throwing money. Boys, it's embarrassing. Look, the people are throwing money. Wait a minute. Fellas, wait a minute. Don, fully packed boy. What's the matter with you? Have you gone crazy?
Oh, Jack, don't get all excited.
But, Mary, imagine people on the street throwing money. It was embarrassing.
You were so embarrassed, why'd you keep picking it up?
Because I'm just naturally neat. Now, come on, let's get in the car and go, will you? Hello, Rochester.
Well, hello, boss. What took you so long?
Oh, I stopped in the drugstore and I had some ice cream.
You must have had a lot. It's coming out on top.
Oh, darn it, I thought he wiped that off. Rochester, did you hear my program today?
Oh, yes, I listened to it with some friends of mine.
Well, what do they think of it?
Well, we thought it had some nice moments.
Uh-huh.
But it definitely wasn't the best years of our life.
Oh, well, I don't care what you and your friends think. That program will cause lots of comment.
You should have heard some of them.
Never mind.
By the way, boss, a couple of telegrams came for you.
Thanks. Read them to me, Rochester.
This one's from Fred Allen.
Fred Allen? What does it say?
It says, congratulations on your birthday next Friday. Heard your program tonight and thought it was very bad. Hope you have many more.
Nice birthday wire to send me. Give me that other one.
Here you are.
Rochester, listen to this. Congratulations, Jack Benny, on your forthcoming birthday. On my special news broadcast at 6:55 tonight, I'm going to pay you a great tribute. Be sure and listen. Signed H.V. Kaltenborn. Rochester, we got to listen to that.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to call my whole gang and tell them about it. That's right, Mary. H.V. Kaltenborn at 6:55. He's going to pay me a tribute. I'm not kidding, Phil. At 6:55, listen to H.V. Kaltenborn. Now, don't forget, Dennis. Be sure to listen to H.V. Kaltenborn at 6:55. I can what? Oh, your mother said that. Well, anyway, don't forget to listen. Yes, Don, I know it's true. He sent me a wire. Kaltenborn's going to give me a big tribute. 6:55. Goodbye.
I know it sounds impossible, but it's true. Be sure to listen at 6:55.
Rochester, who are you talking to?
I don't know. I'm just calling numbers at random.
Good. My goodness, look what time it is. Hey, Kaltenborn must be on now. Turn on the radio.
Okay.
However, more confessions were exchanged by the United States and Russia in the privacy of United Nations conference room.
That's him. That's Kaltenborn.
It was announced in London that the King and Queen of England were having a very pleasant ocean voyage on their way to South Africa. A light gale marred their trip temporarily, but once again they're sailing on these.
They can read that stuff in the papers. Get to me.
In Beverly Hills, California.
That's it.
The mayor announced that the sewer system would have to be overhauled. It seems that the pipes are inadequate to carry off the rains that pour in from nearby states. As you know, California has an ordinance against rain. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the sponsor of the special program, the publishers of the Encyclopedia Britannica, would like to bring you a testimonial from a satisfied user. Here he is, Mr. Clarence Pierpont.
I've been reading the Encyclopedia Britannica continuously now for 2 years. I know all about the birds and the bees and all that kind of stuff. It even tells in there that Richard wasn't the first one who wouldn't open the door.
Gee, they got everything in there.
Tell me, Mr. Pierpont, when did you buy your set of Encyclopedia Britannica?
I didn't buy it. I was on information, please, and they hit me over the head with it.
Oh, get that over with, will you?
Now, back to the news. All over America, we're celebrating National Boy Scout Week. Since 1910, more than 13.5 million American boys and men have been members.
Maybe I'm next.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special announcement to make.
Here comes Rochester. That means me.
West Radio comedian will celebrate his birthday next Friday, February the 14th.
It's me.
This comedian, whom we all love and admire, is a very famous butler by the name of Rochester.
Say, you're lucky he mentioned you, too.
Yeah.
Rochester was born in Oakland, California. Yes, and he attended the Oakland High School. After graduation, Rochester went to work in his father's store.
What is this?
Quiet, boss. I want to hear it.
But, having no love for business, Rochester decided to leave home, go to work for the Santa Fe Railroad.
Rochester, it's all about you.
Boss, please.
After working. Yes, after working for the railroad for 5 years, Rochester met a great comedian who was traveling from Los Angeles to New York.
That's me. That was me. Tell him, Rochester. Tell him.
You tell him. You're supposed to as I am.
What?
And the name of this great radio star who discovered Rochester and is celebrating his birthday Friday, February the 14th is none other than...
We're sorry to interrupt, Mr. Kaltenborn, but here's another news item.
What?
It is raining in Beverly Hills. Now back to Mr. Kaltenborn.
And that concludes my special podcast.
that off. Imagine sending me a wire about a big tribute and didn't even mention my name. You know, it's my birthday next Friday, Rochester, not yours.
I know, boy. By the way, how old are you going to be?
38. Gee, that angel wasn't kidding.
What'd you say, boss?
Nothing. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, the angel on tonight's program was played by that great star, Mr. Victor Moore, and H.V. Kaltenborn was impersonated by Ollie O'Toole. Ladies and gentlemen, during the last war, the chief hope of our enemies was to divide the United States along racial and religious lines and thereby conquer us. Let's not spread prejudice. A divided America is a weak America, and we need the same harmony among our various racial and religious groups that was the source of our strength in war. Through our behavior, we encourage the respect of our children and make them better neighbors to all races and religions. Remind them that being good neighbors has helped make our country great and kept her free. Thank you.
Well, Jack will be back in just a minute. But first, here is my good friend, Basil Rysdale.
As you listen to the chant of the tobacco auctioneer, remember LSMFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And fine tobacco is what counts in a cigarette.
Mr. John Lawrence Cummins, an independent tobacco auctioneer of Cynthiana, Kentucky, was born and brought up in the tobacco business. Here's what he said.
I've sold tobacco at auctions for over 19 years. In all that time, I've seen the makers of Lucky Strike buy fine, good-tasting tobacco. Tobacco that's got quality, real quality. I smoked Lucky's myself for 22 years.
Quote, fine, good-tasting tobacco. Tobacco that's got quality, real quality. Unquote. Yes, independent tobacco experts like Mr. Cummins can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco.
Fine, light, naturally mild tobacco. Real Lucky Strike tobacco.
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, for your own real deep-down smoking enjoyment. Remember,
LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all tune in next week, as I'm going to have a birthday party and invite one of the world's greatest violinists, Mr. Isaac Stern. And I'll also invite Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman. I hope you'll all...
Ladies and gentlemen, the rain in Beverly Hills has now turned to orange juice.
Gee, I wish my swimming pool was empty. Good night, folks.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Good health to all from Rexall. It's the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show, presented by the makers of Rexall drug products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists.
Good evening. This is your Rexall family druggist with a welcome from all 10,000 of us. The 10,000 independent druggists who have added the word Rexall to our own store names and placed the famous orange and blue Rexall sign on our windows. We've done that because we believe in the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company, and we confidently recommend them to our customers. One of the newest of these products is Rexall's ammoniated tooth powder, compounded according to the official University of Illinois formula, yet priced no higher than ordinary tooth powder. Quality like this is what we family druggists are talking about when we tell you you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall. Good health to all from Rexall. And now your Rexall family druggist brings you the Phil Harris Alice Faye Show. Written by Ray Singer and Dick Chevrolet with Elliot Lewis, Walter Tetley, Robert North, Janine Roos, Ann Whitfield, Walter Sharp in its music, yours truly, Bill Foreman, and starring Alice Faye and Phil Harris. For the past few weeks, Phil has been feeling nervous, restless, and irritable. Alice is a little worried, and she's insisted that he go to his doctor for a checkup. Phil has taken Frankie along for moral support. And as we look in, the doctor is just finishing his examination.
Well, there's nothing wrong with you organically, Mr. Harris. Your nervousness must be caused by some outside influence. Tell me, do you drink?
8 glasses of water every day.
No, I mean, do you partake of alcoholic beverages?
Gee! You put it so delicately, it's a pleasure to say yes.
And how much do you drink?
Oh, I take an occasional glass. I stay an occasional glass. Once in a while, Doctor, I engage in a little SM, social nipping. I just take a little for special occasions like holidays, birthdays,
Mondays, Tuesdays.
All right. Another thing, Mr. Harris, do you lead a regular life?
Oh, sure. I eat well and I get plenty of sleep.
What time do you get to bed?
Well, I'm always in bed by 10 or 11. Noon at the latest.
Doc, I can't understand why I don't feel good. Perhaps there's something in your work that's preying on your mind. What do you do for a living?
What do I do for... Oh, Doc, you better put the stopper back in that ether bottle. You're standing too close to the stop, Doc. You're a little... What do I do for... New doctor, huh? Doctor, I happen to be Phil Harris. I have my own radio program every Sunday. Do you listen to it?
Yes, I've heard it. Well, what do you do for a living?
Well, that's it. I'm on the radio once a week for Rexall. That's what I do for a living.
Oh, you must be kidding.
Kidding? What's kidding? Kidding. I come up here paying $25 a visit. There's no time of kidding. Kidding. I work like a dog for a half hour every week, and he says, "What are you doing? You must be kidding."
Half hour, huh? Well, obviously you have too much time on your hands. Now, I suggest you do a little work, a little manual labor, something to keep your hands and your mind busy. Build something.
Yeah, you got something there, Doc. Hey, thanks, Doc. So long.
So long, sir.
So long. Come on, Ridley.
Yeah.
Hey, you know something, Ridley? That doctor's all right. He's absolutely right. I should create something. You know, I always had a desire to build. That's what's wrong with me. I'm a frustrated engineer. You know something? I want to create something with my brain and then see it take form with my hands. I know if I put my mind to it, I could accomplish a tremendous engineering project. But what? What?
How about filling in the Grand Canyon? Or you could straighten out the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Well, along those lines, but that ain't it. I want to create something new, something that'll be useful.
They don't have a bridge between New York and Europe.
Remley, a bridge to Europe.
What kind of a bridge? Suspension or draw?
Draw. Oh, let's make it stuck. No, Remley. On second thought, I'm not ready for anything that big yet. Look, come on over to my house and maybe we'll think of something smaller, huh? Come on.
Willie, you know I'm worried. Phil has been so grouchy and irritable lately. I hope the doctor doesn't find anything serious.
Alice, I hate to tell you this, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Philip. Physically.
What do you mean?
I never wanted to bring this up before, sis, but do you think Philip is all there?
What are you getting at?
Frankly, I don't think he has all his marbles.
Really? That's a very nasty thing to say.
Oh, sis, let's face it. He's never been overly smart, but recently I've noticed a change for the worse. He's been getting more stupid than ever.
That's not so. There hasn't been any change in my Phil.
Oh, Alice, he wasn't that stupid when he married you.
He was, too. Well, he's been so nervous lately.
Daddy? Mommy, has Daddy come home yet?
No, children. He's still at the doctor's. He's trying to find out why he's so nervous.
We know why he's nervous. He's a genius, and he's temperamental, and he's got a lot on his mind. You don't understand him, Mommy. You should let him go out with the boys more often, and he should have more liberty. And he should be... What else did he tell us to say, Alice?
Yes, Alice, what else did he tell you to say?
He said if you raised his allowance, he'd be a lot easier to get along with.
Children, Daddy doesn't mean those things. He just says them to be funny. Oh, the old corn pone is quite a clip. He thinks of the darndest things to tell the children.
Alice, I'm home. Where are you, honey?
Oh, hello, dear. Hello, Frankie.
Hi, Alice.
What'd the doctor say, Phil?
Oh, I'm in great shape. There's nothing wrong with me. All I need is something to occupy my spare time, and I know just what I'm going to do. I'm going to become an engineer.
A what?
An engineer. INJUNEAR.
What kind of an engineer, dear? Civil, mechanical, aeronautical, or choo-choo?
I've made up my mind yet. I may dabble with a little of each.
Oh, Phil, I never heard of anything so ridiculous. Where did you ever get such a crazy idea?
Go ahead. Laugh at me. Laugh it up. People are always laughing at genius. They laughed at Edison. They thought he was crazy. They thought Fulton was crazy. They thought Marconi was crazy.
They even thought Sam Promkus was crazy.
Yeah, they even thought... Who is Sam Promkus?
My uncle. He was crazy.
Maybe there's something around the house that I could build. You know, something that we need, something useful, like an indoor swimming pool or maybe an elevator in the entrance hall.
How about a parachute jump in the backyard?
Oh, please.
Or a camel run in the attic.
Well, you two... What's the camel run?
Well, I don't know, but my aunt used to have one. That's what drove my uncle crazy.
Meshuggah Promkus, huh?
If you want to do something useful around the house, I have something for you to do.
Well, good. And I hope it's something worthy of my engineering talents.
It is. I want you to change the bulb in the light over the garage.
Change a bulb? Oh, Alice, you're asking me to do a child's job.
I know. But with Frankie to help you, you might be able to handle it. Now, just change the bulb and have it done by the time I get back from the market. I'll see you later.
Have it done by the time I get back from the market. How do you like that? She's asking a great engineer like me to change a bulb.
Yeah. You, the greatest stud bridge builder in the world.
Well, let's go out in the garage and change the bulb. It might lead to something bigger.
All right, but first let's make sure the bulb needs changing.
I'll stay here and turn the switch on. You go out to the garage to see if it'll light.
No, we can't do it that way. We got to go out to the garage to turn it on and off.
Why don't you have a switch put in the house?
Oh, I don't know. Alice was supposed to call the electrician and have one put in, but...
Frankie! Naturally. And I'll help you.
Hey. Yeah, you know anything about wiring?
I know as much as you do.
Then we're in business. All we have to do is to put a switch in the wall here, run some wires to the garage, and we're in.
Sure. Hand me that hammer. I'll knock a hole in the wall and make a place for the switch.
Okay. Here. Now, look, in the meantime, I'm going to go down to the cellar and get some wires. Remley, be sure you make that hole big enough so we can get our hands in to connect the wires.
Please, I know what I'm doing. You take care of your end. Go down and get the wire.
Okay. I guess this will prove to Alice that I'm a pretty handy guy. She thinks I'm just a lousy musician. I'll show her that ain't the only thing I am. I'm a pretty famous guy. I got my picture on the cover of this month's Radio Mirror. I just made a new record for Victor called The Old Master Painter. And now let me see, is there anything else I want to plug? Now let me see, what are we short on? Nah, we're loaded. I guess I can sing all right. Master painter from the faraway hills painted the violets and the daffodils. He put the purple in the twilight haze, then did a rainbow for the rainy day. Dreamed up the murals on the blue summer sky, painted the devil in my darling eyes, captured the dreamer with 1,000 thrills. The old master painter from the faraway hills. Then came his masterpiece, and when he was through, he smiled down from heaven and he gave me you. What a beautiful job on that wonderful day. The old master painter from the hills far away. He paints from your love on blue summer skies. He paints from love light in my darling's eyes. Painted the violets and the daffodils. He put the purple in the twilight haze, then did a rainbow for the rainy day. Dreamed up the murals on the blue summer sky, painted the devil in my darling's eyes, captured a dreamer with 1,000 thrills. The old master painter from the faraway hills. Then came his masterpiece, and when he was through, he smiled down from heaven and he gave me you. What a beautiful job on that wonderful day. The old master painter from the hills far away, far away, far away. The old master painter from the hills far Hey, Frankie, I got the wire. Look, have you got that hole big enough so we can... Frankie? Hey, Frankie, where are you?
I'm right here, in the wall.
Oh, no, look at the size of that. Remley, come out of that hole.
Oh, you come on in. Plenty of room for both of us.
What's the idea of making this hole this big?
I figured we might as well be comfortable as long as we're going to be working in here for a couple of weeks.
are you talking about, a couple of weeks?
Let's face it, Curly. We don't know what we're doing. We'll be here all winter.
Maybe you don't know what you're doing, but I do.
You do, huh? Well, look over here. I want to show you something, Steinmetz.
Okay, I'll look. What was that last word you laid on me?
Steinmetz. The man's name.
I don't think that name's funny. It ain't half as funny as Clyde or Myrtle.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Then why are you making up names like Steinmetz? You better watch it, kid. You're getting pretty hokey.
Curly, Steinmetz happens to be a famous scientist.
I don't care who he is. He hasn't got a funny name. It does nothing to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's even a bad straight line.
All right. I'm sorry I mentioned the name. I hate it. The worst name I ever heard.
Oh, it's not that bad, Ray. Just don't happen to strike my fancy. Other people might howl.
Oh, shut up. All I want to do is show you something. Sam. See you play around with
All right. Now, what do you want to show me?
Oh, look. Look at this maze of wires in the wall here. Must be 50 of them.
So?
So, which ones do we connect to the garage? Which is which?
What difference which is which? Wires is wires.
I like your scientific approach.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All I got to do is to take one length of this wire that I brought from the cellar and attach it to the positive post of the switch box thusly.
Mm-hmm.
Then I take another length of wire and attach it to the negative post like so.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the two exposed ends of the wires are joined together, it will close the circuit, and presto, we have incandescent light. That finishes my end of the job.
How do you know there's an electric current running through them wires?
Well, all you got to do is to pick up them two exposed wires, and then we'll be able to tell.
Well, who's got to do?
You. That's your end of the job.
Oh, yeah. Well, pardon me while I slit my trouser leg and shave my head.
What's that for?
I want to be properly attired for my electrocution. I got news for you, Curly. I'm not holding any live wires. Guy can get fried that way.
Well, maybe you're right. I guess it is kind of dangerous. I see your point. I ain't got no right to ask anybody to hold two live wires because they might go...
everybody. I've done the groceries.
Well, if it ain't Julius, we got nothing to lose if he blows a fuse. Hey, come on in here, kid.
Come in where? Where are you?
Well, we're in the... Oh, never mind. We'll come out there. Here we are.
Oh, no. Now they're crawling out of the woodwork. Where did you guys come from?
We were in the wall.
Well, don't you claim I come out on my account. Stay in and finish your dinner.
I wish I was a termite so I could gnaw a hole in that wooden head of yours.
I don't wish to be impertinent, but what were you doing in the wall?
We were doing a little wiring job. You want to step in and watch us?
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't. I know you guys. As soon as I step in, you'll plaster up that hole and seal me in there.
How could you say that? Heavens, what a gruesome thought.
Gruesome, but appealing. Ain't nobody gonna miss him. No, we need him right now. Remember that next week.
Hey, come on, Julius. We're not up to anything. We'll go in first, and we'll show you.
Okay, I'll follow you. How do you know what you're doing with all these wires in here? What are they all for?
It's simple, kid. I'll explain. Now, these are telephone wires, these are intercommunication wires, and these are electric wires.
What's this thick one?
That's the gas wire. It carries the gas to the oven.
Mr. Harris, you have a remarkable grasp of absolutely nothing. Did you study all this in college?
No, never took a lesson, kid. Came by my knowledge naturally. I happen to have a mechanical brain.
Well, the next time your mechanic waits on it, have him look around. I think he left one of his tools up there.
Hey, look, kid, as long as you're here, you can help us. Pick up that loose wire and hand it to me, will you?
Which one? There's two of them here.
Well, pick them both up. Look, and hold one in each hand so you don't get them mixed up.
You mean like this, Mr. Harris?
Hey, Frankie, it worked. I knew I had the right wires.
You sure did, Curly. You got a good, solid connection, too.
Let's look at old Julius glow.
Now, this is what they mean when they say a child brightens up a home.
Yeah. He ought to be ashamed of himself getting lit at that tender age.
Hey, Curly's starting to spark a little. Shall I turn him off?
No, let him go. You burn out soon. Besides, this is better than working in the dark.
Yeah. Hey, if he had a hooked nose, we could hang him over the water pipe and use him as a trouble light.
Family, we better disconnect him. His filament is wearing thin.
All right, I'll turn off the switch.
You can stop now. We turned you off.
What's wrong with you guys? Make me hold too long wire.
What are you talking like that for?
You melted all the gold in my little teeth.
Rather nervous, child. Everything excites him.
He's a worrier. That kid don't watch out, he's going to have a fluorescent ulcer before he's 17. Well, Remley, I guess I proved that I know all about electricity.
I didn't think you could do it, Curly. Hey, as soon as we put the wires out to the garage, Alice will be able to turn the light on from here.
Oh, no, that ain't all I'm going to do for her.
Huh?
I'm going to make her life easier by making everything in this house electric. Now, let's get to work and have it finished by the time she gets back.
Okay, what are we going to do?
Well, now, look, we're going to put a switchboard in the kitchen, and then she'll be able to control everything in the house from here.
Uh-huh.
The phonograph, the radio, the sprinkler system, the telephone, the garage light, and I'll even put a switch that'll open and close the garage door. Now, look, Remley, you take these wires. Alice, you got here right at the right time. We've just finished.
Finished what? Phil! What are all these switches on the kitchen wall?
It's to make life easy for you, honey.
Yeah, you're going to love us for this, sweetheart. You got switches for everything in the house. Phonograph, telephone, sprinkler.
Everything, honey. Now, look, go ahead, push one. They're all marked. Hey, push this one. It'll turn on the light in the garage.
Okay. Did it go on?
No, it didn't. Must be something wrong. Wait a minute. It's starting to glow. Look, it's getting brighter.
Yeah, it's burning good now.
Flames? Oh, we must have a short circuit. The garage is on fire.
Don't get excited. I'll get it out. I'll push the sprinkler switch.
Long distance, not near.
Long distance? You pushed the sprinkler switch. What happened?
I guess we had that switch marked wrong. I'll try this one.
The Rams have the ball on the 45-yard line. Big corner reflecting
30-yard line. He's running past the 30, running past the 20.
Tell him to keep running. When he passes the firehouse, tell him to turn in the alarm.
Let me out that phone and I'll call the fire.
Don't touch that phone, Alice. We get in
Out
there.
of my way and let me dial the operator.
There's some rheumatism pills for the settlers in the hills. Get along. Wait. Hang up that phone. Hang that phone up.
What was that?
The one thing we haven't been able to lick. Every time we dial the phone, we get mule praise.
Alice and Phil will be back in just a moment. But first, here's your Rexall family druggist.
Have you ever witnessed a race between life and death?
Golly, that sounds serious.
Well, ma'am, the race I'm talking about is serious because it's run to test the germ-killing power of Rexall's famous mouthwash, MI31.
Just how is it done?
A culture of the bacteria usually found in the mouth is grown under carefully controlled laboratory conditions until it reaches an accepted standard of strength. Then a very tiny measurement of full-strength MI31 is pitted against this thriving, rugged bacteria.
I see. That's the beginning of the race.
Yes, ma'am, and the end comes only seconds later. Because immediately afterward, the bacteria to which the MI31 was added is given ideal conditions to hang on and thrive. But if it doesn't grow, then Rexall's MI31 has killed it on contact. And needless to say, full-strength MI31 must kill germs on contact, or it isn't good enough to wear the Rexall label.
You know, I'm beginning to understand more and more why you family druggists tell us.
You can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall? Well, ma'am, it's absolutely true.
Good health to all from Rexall.
Hey, Curly, I can't understand how we got all the wires crossed. None of these switches work like they're supposed to.
Hey, here's one we haven't tried yet. This is the one that opens and closes the garage door. I'm going to try it.
You better not. Alice might not like it.
She'll never know. She's upstairs taking a bath. You watch the garage door while I push the switch.
Okay. Nothing happened yet. Keep pushing it.
Phil, come up and help me quick.
What's the matter, honey?
Something keeps opening and closing the bathroom window.
Next time you have a headache, remember Rexall Aspirin. By laboratory test, Rexall Aspirin disintegrates faster than any other leading brand tested. This means that when swallowed with water, the 5 full grains of pure aspirin contained in every Rexall aspirin tablet are ready to go to work for you even before they reach your stomach. Ask for Rexall aspirin wherever you see the orange and blue Rexall sign on the window. And remember, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Franco-American cannot beat. Franco-American just can't beat. Franco-American, 9 out of 10 will agree.
Yes, Franco-American, the spaghetti 9 out of 10 prefer, brings you The Rochester Show, starring Eddie Anderson.
Hello, Mr. Benny, this is Rochester. I hate to ask you, but I'm behind on my apartment rent. Yes, I know what Shakespeare said about money. He who steals my purse steals trash. Well, you owe me 6 weeks back trash.
Do you know how easy it is to make a meal of leftovers look and taste extra special? Simply add a side dish of Franco-American spaghetti. It's ready in 5 minutes and so delicious that 9 out of 10 who try it prefer Franco-American to any other ready-to-serve spaghetti. Only the finest spaghetti goes into Franco-American. Then it's cooked in a sauce that contains 11 choice ingredients. Do you wonder thousands of families serve Franco-American spaghetti exclusively instead of the home-cooked kind? Try it yourself. Franco-American, the spaghetti preferred by 9 out of 10 who taste it. And now we go to the Jefferson Boulevard apartment of Rochester Van Jones. It's his day off from duties at the Jack Benny household, so we find him in a cheerful mood as he stands before the mirror shaving. His rich baritone rings out.
My heart knows what the wild goose knows. My heart goes where the wild goose goes. Mother goes, brother. Oh, I cut my chin again. Every day I cut my chin in the same place. Oh, well, that's the way Cary Grant got his start. Come in.
Here's your suit from the dry cleaners, Rochester.
Wait a minute, Fred. You're supposed to have 2 of my suits. One's missing.
I know. Mr. Benny came and got it.
Mr. Doggone it, if he keeps picking up his own suits, I won't have a thing to wear.
Say, Rochester, I think your landlady, Mrs. Calloway, is on her way up here again for a rent.
Why doesn't she leave me alone? Whatever Mr. Benny gives me, I turn over to her. All I am is a middleman in the local Marshall Plan.
Well, Rochester, you know it ain't only the money. Mrs. Calloway is sweet on you.
Mrs. Calloway weighs 200 pounds. She ought to lay off sweets.
Well, what's the matter with having a 200-pound girlfriend?
I like small packages. I don't buy bulk.
Well, it can't be thankful she likes you, or you'd been kicked out of your apartment long ago.
All right, Chester!
Uh-oh, there's Miss Calloway now. See that look on her face? Oh, that's love.
It is? Well, don't let it get around. It might make the whole thing unpopular.
Well, Rochester, I'm glad I found you in.
Now, Mrs. Calloway, Jenny, you don't want to spoil a beautiful day for both of us.
I don't want any of your soft soap, Rochester. I want hard cash.
Jenny, and may I call you Mrs. Calloway? I will pay every penny. I'm expecting some money from the government.
Money from the government?
Yeah, Social Security when I'm 65.
Rochester, I'm tired of this stalling. I'm going to evict you.
Mrs. Calloway, and may I call you Jenny? You wouldn't do that. Think of it. Evicted. Picture me out on that sidewalk surrounded by my furniture.
You haven't got no furniture.
You've got me out on the sidewalk. At least let me be comfortable.
And another thing, I get sick and tired of taking messages from your low-brow girlfriend.
They're not lowbrow. You ought to see my new girlfriend in a bathing suit. There ain't a single tattooing on her that isn't from the old masters.
Rochester, haven't you ever thought of finding the right woman and settling down and getting married?
No, Jenny, I don't think I'm quite ready for combat duty.
Don't you believe that stuff? Why, the late Mr. Calloway and me never had a single fight in our whole married life.
You didn't? What's the secret? How did you and Mr. Calloway have such a peaceful marriage?
I outweighed him by 40 pounds, and he was a coward.
Well, Jenny, I've got to finish dressing, and don't worry about the rent. I've got an appointment with Willie Johnson at the cigar store. Said he's got a big deal cooking.
That Willie Johnson is a no-good loafer, and he'll only get you into trouble.
You're wrong, Jenny. Willie's smart. He's got parts of his head he hasn't even used yet.
Yeah, and that goes for his whole head. He's just a fast-talking promoter.
Jenny? Why, Willie's full of good ideas. He would have thought of the H-bomb, but he just couldn't think of the letter. I'll see you later.
Package of cigarettes? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Come in again. Uh-oh. Here come that no-good Willie Johnson. He's always mooching. I better get rid of this change.
Oh, man, what sweet music. That's the sweetest music this side of heaven.
What are you staring at, Willie Johnson?
The cash register, boy, the cash register.
Well, it ain't going to do you no good. This is a cigar store, not a piggy bank. Willie, why don't you get yourself a job?
You mean work?
Yeah, I mean work.
You mean get up early in the morning and get home late at night?
Yeah, I mean get up early in the morning and get home late at night.
You mean physical, manual labor?
Yeah, I mean physical, manual labor.
You just talked me out of it.
Willie Johnson, you the laziest man I know. I watched you once, and you wouldn't even brush a fly off your nose. You just sat there hoping he'd hear a mating call.
Well, don't you worry your little head about Willie Johnson. I got a big deal cooking right now.
Good Lord, don't tell me you're going to sell the Golden Gate Bridge again.
No, don't be silly. I lost the lease. Ramsey, if this idea of mine goes through, I'll be rich. Now, all I got to do is to get Rochester to work with me on this deal.
Rochester? What's he got to do with this?
Everything. He's got connections. He works for Mr. Benny.
Working for Mr. Benny ain't a connection. That's a short circuit. Well, if it ain't Mr. Rochester Van Jones.
Hello, Ramsey. Hello, Willie.
Friend Rochester. It certainly relaxes my eyeballs to catch sight of my very bestest ally in this whole world. It does my poor heart good to gaze at a man so bright, handsome, charming, healthy, and wealthy.
Uh-oh. I got a feeling this is going to cost me. Willie, as Julius Caesar said, Veni, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, and I'm going to get out of here fast.
Yeah, and if one of you don't buy something worthwhile in a minute, both of you going to get out of here fast.
Well, all right, Ramsey. I'll take 15 of the usual cigars.
Why, Mr. Van Jones, I thank you. Here are your 15 cigars.
You're welcome, and here's your dime.
Thank you, and here's your nickel change.
Now, Willie, I'm a pretty busy boy. What's on your mind?
Well, Rochester, I got a scheme that's going to make us both rich.
I hear you, friend Willie.
Your pockets is going to bulge with that green stuff.
I hear you, friend Willie.
You's going to be up there in the high bracket.
I hear you, friend Willie.
Now, all you got to do is to ask a small favor of Jack Benny.
Uh-oh, I just went deep in both ears.
But, friend Rochester, this scheme is surefire.
Willie, I hereby tender my resignation from your corporation.
Oh, Rochester, I ain't formed a corporation yet.
That's all right, Willie. My resignation will keep tender until you do.
Rochester, have you ever known any of my ideas to fail?
All of your ideas fail.
Now, there you are. I'm backing 1,000%.
Okay. I'll listen to your scheme, Willie, but only with one ear. The other one's for backing out.
Rochester, I found us the most beautiful, gorgeous girl by the name of Clooney Watson who should be in pictures.
How beautiful?
Well, friend Rochester, just take the eyes of Lena Horne, the nose of Eddie Lamar, the legs of Betty Grable, and the chassis of Jane Russell. Now, you take all them things and put them together, and what you got?
Good.
Rochester, you and I is going to be Clooney's agents, and whatever she makes, we is going to split 50-50.
But that ain't right, Willie. If you take 50% and I take 50%, how will Clooney eat?
She lives with her mother.
Willie, it ain't right for us to divide that girl's money up 50-50. I'm going to give Clooney 40%, and I'm just going to take 10%.
Yeah, and to show you I'm the right sort of a guy, Rochester, I'm going to let you. Now, all you have to do is to persuade Jack Benny to do you a favor and get Clooney Watson an interview at the movie studios.
I don't know, Willie. Mr. Benny and I have a unique type of relationship. At no time do we ever discuss favors, politics, or the horn blows at midnight. I'm afraid I can't help you.
Well, hello there, Willie.
Well, if this ain't a prearranged coincidence. Now, as we talk, who should walk in but the lovely Miss Clooney Watson? Now, last year, Miss Watson was voted by the boys down at the YMCA as the girl for whom they'd like most to fall out of a window whistling at. Clooney, say hello to friend Rochester.
Hello, friend Rochester. I said hello.
Hey, Rochester, don't just stand there with your mouth open. Say something.
Close my mouth so I can open it again.
Tell me, Rochester, what do you do?
Name it.
Clooney, you'd have to help me convince Rochester to get you into pictures.
I have no idea how to convince him. Rochester, I just know you'll do everything you can to help me because you're so sweet, you're charming, you're an angel.
Keep going. If you run out of words, I'll help.
Rochester, if I get into pictures, I'll be so grateful. Do you think you can?
I don't know, but it's sure going to be a lot of fun trying.
Rochester, that Clooney is quite attractive, isn't she?
Yes, sir. Wow, and other expressions of glee.
Oh, you're kind of fallen, huh?
Mr. Stevenson, the last time I saw a dish as tasty as that, it was a plate of Franco-American spaghetti.
Ah, now you're talking my language. Franco-American spaghetti. It's so delicious that 9 out of 10 who taste it prefer Franco-American to any other ready-to-serve spaghetti. And thousands who once served nothing but the home-cooked kind now serve Franco-American spaghetti exclusively. And you know why? No home-cooked spaghetti tastes quite like Franco-American. You see, Franco-American starts with the best spaghetti money can buy. Then it's cooked with a sauce made of 11 different ingredients, including generous helpings of the finest aged sharp cheddar cheese and luscious red sun-ripened tomatoes. Even if you knew the secret recipe and could get all of the best ingredients, you still couldn't prepare a spaghetti of comparable quality at anywhere near the price. Yes, Franco-American costs less to serve than the home-cooked kind. Stock up tomorrow. Ask for a half-dozen cans of Franco-American, the spaghetti preferred by 9 out of 10 who taste it.
Rochester, do you really think you can get a girl into pictures?
Yes, Jimmy, I think I can.
Well, then, do you think you can get me into pictures?
Yes, Jimmy, but with you it'll have to be a double feature.
Listen in tomorrow to The Rochester Show, starring Eddie Anderson, brought to you the same time every night, Tuesday through Saturday, by Franco-American Spaghetti. The Rochester Show is directed by Tony Stanford and written by Charlie Isaacs, Hal Goodman, and Ben Starr. This is Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Franco-American cannot beat. Franco-American just can't beat. Franco-American, 9 out of 10 will agree.
Yes, Franco-American, the spaghetti 9 out of 10 prefer, brings you The Rochester Show, starring Eddie Anderson.
Hello? This is Rochester. Oh, hello, Willie. Sure, come right on over. I don't have to be at Mr. Benny's until 11 o'clock tonight. Oh, I know that's awfully late for a dinner party, but that's the hour on the time lock of the refrigerator set for.
I'll bet many a lady has tried Franco-American spaghetti the first time because it's so easy to serve. But here's the thing that keeps folks coming back. Flavor. Yes, a flavor so delicious that thousands who once served only home-cooked spaghetti now serve Franco-American spaghetti exclusively. Only the finest spaghetti produced goes into Franco-American. Then it's steeped in a sauce made with juicy red tomatoes and nippy, well-aged cheddar cheese. So when you think of spaghetti, think of Franco-American. Remember, of all ready-to-serve spaghettis, Franco-American is preferred by 9 out of 10 who taste it. At the snug little Jefferson Boulevard apartment, we find Rochester Van Jones, always a kindly, cooperative fellow trying to help his portly landlady solve a financial problem.
Rochester, this is it. I want my rent.
Mrs. Calloway, and may I call you Jenny? How can you talk like this after what we've been to each other?
What have we been to each other?
Debtor and creditor.
Yes, and that's always been. You know, Rochester, if I thought you cared the least bit about me, I wouldn't worry so about the rent.
Why, Jenny, I don't pay the rent because, my dear, this gives me an excuse to talk to you once in a while.
Rochester, you don't mean that.
No, but for a moment, didn't it sound good?
Oh, I'm disgusted with you. You don't know the way to a woman's heart.
I do, Jenny. But on you, it's a long trip.
I suppose your new friend, Miss Clooney Watson, is one of those pretty bits of fluff they stamp out like new pennies.
If they stamp them out like that, I'm getting a job operating the machine. Anyway, Clooney Watson is going to be a movie star, and I'm going to be the man responsible for her success.
Maybe you think your connections with Mr. Benny are going to get into pictures, but I don't.
Excuse me, Jenny. And may I call you Miss Calloway? This might be an important business call. Probably my stockbroker. Hello? Why, Clooney Watson.
Stockbroker.
Clooney, honey, your voice sounds so beautiful over the phone.
Baloney just went up 8 points.
Jenny, keep quiet. No, Clooney, I was talking to my cat.
Cat! I'm not going to stand here and listen to Central Avenue's answer to Errol Flynn. Rochester, I'm expecting my rent.
No, Clooney, honey, no, that was the cat again. I just can't teach her to close doors quietly. What? You just love to pet cats? Well, all I can say to you is, meow. Yeah. Okay, honey. I'll call you later. Goodbye. I'll get her in the pictures, and then I'll get her in television. Then maybe I'll invent a cozier medium. Come in.
Hello, Rochester. How are you?
Hello, Willie. I hope we can get that picture deal working. My landlady is just pressing me about the rent again.
Afraid, Rochester, your troubles are over. Now, I and you is going to get gorgeous Clooney Watson into pictures, and as her legal agent, we will make a one pile of money. Now, won't you like living off the fat of the land?
I told you, Willie, I don't want to marry my landlady.
Good, Rochester. Just close your eyes and listen to that wonderful sound of the money we're going to make. Can't you just hear those silver dollars clinking now? Listen. Clink, 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 thud. Clink, 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 thud.
Willie, what are those thuds?
I can't help it, Rochester. Whenever I'm connected with money, there's bound to be a few slugs.
Willie, when do we start making some of this money?
Well, our first step is to buy Clooney Watson some high-type fancy clothes so she can impress those movie folks. It'll take about $150. I just got through counting our resources, and we're a little short.
How much short?
$150.
Why do we need so much money?
Well, you want Clooney to make a nice appearance, don't you?
Yeah, but if it takes $150 to make a nice appearance, why don't we just raise $75 and keep her slightly sloppy?
Friend Rochester, don't trouble your little brain about money. We must be sensible about this. We must do what's right. Now, we'll pawn your landlady's television set.
My landlady's television set?
Now, don't get excited, Rochester. We'll only borrow it for a while.
Well, that's stealing, Willie.
Yeah, I know, but there's a difference. Now, when you steal something, they don't know about it. But when you borrow, they know about it, but you don't have to return it.
Well, just count me out. We're not taking Mrs. Calloway's television set.
Oh, okay, Rochester, forget it. I got another idea. Meet me at the pawn shop in a half hour. This television set is getting mighty heavy. I should know Miss Calloway wouldn't own a light one. It's a good thing she wasn't home. Well, here's the pawn shop.
Well, it's you again, Willie. You know you got 21 pawn tickets here now.
Yeah, I know, Bert. Boy, I sure got a lot of stuff in here. There's my engagement ring. I broke up with her after I found out the one she gave me was a cheap one. And there's my top coat, and there's my bottom coat. There's my toothbrush, and there's my tooth. And there's my pipe, my slippers, my furniture, and my mattress. You know something, Bert?
What?
It's good to be home.
Well, what can I do for you this time, Willie?
I'd like to pawn this television set.
All right, Willie. I'll give you $10 for it.
$10? That's ridiculous. It's worth that much to tune off Milton Barrow.
All right, 20.
Now, you don't even seem to understand, Bert. This set is worth a whole lot of money.
All right, Willie. I'll give you $50 for the set.
Bless you and keep you, Mother McCree. I'll take it.
Well, how do you want it? A 50, 2 20s and a 10, 5 10s, 10 5s are all singles.
Just ad lib, boy. I'm a fool for cash.
All right, here you are, and here's your pawn ticket.
Uh-oh. There's Rochester coming in now. Give it to me quick.
Hello, Willie.
Well, come on, Rochester. We got a lot of work to do.
Wait a minute, Willie. Where'd you get all that money?
What money?
The money you got in your hand.
Which hand?
The one that just turned green. Uh-oh. What's that television set doing there? It looks like Miss Calloway's.
That was just a lucky guess.
Willie Johnson, you pawned Mrs. Calloway's television set. You stole it out of her apartment while I was busy talking to her.
Rochester, you've got to look at this like a businessman.
Boy, I'm in trouble. Mrs. Calloway will think I stole her television set. I may get life.
In jail?
Worse, with Mrs. Calloway.
But, Rochester, we need this money to get Clooney a picture contract. Now, here's what we do. I'll give you the money, and you take Clooney to a dress shop and pick out something nice for her to wear. We want her to look real glamorous. Now, here's the money.
Okay. I'm in so deep now, I might as well relax and drown. Hey, wait a minute, Willie. You only gave me $45. Where's the other $5?
Oh, that's for a rainy day. You know, the one we had last week.
It's sure sweet of you to take me to this swanky dress shop, Rochester. I don't know what to buy. Everything looks so good. And just look at all those beautiful models walking around.
Yeah, everything looks so good.
Honey, do you think those girls have a better figure than I have?
Baby, you've got detours I haven't even thought of yet.
Oh, you're only saying that.
No, I studied the terrain before I made the decision.
Thank you, Sugar Pie. You're so sweet. You're so flattering. You're so kind.
I'm a dog. Yeah. Come on now, baby. Pick out the dress you like.
Well, what about that cute little one over there? That one with the plunging neckline.
I'm game.
Have you got enough money, Rochester?
Clooney, to see you in a low-cut evening gown, I've got money to burn. Have the girl wrap it up. While you're waiting, I've got to make an important phone call. Hello? Mr. Benny, this is Rochester. Your man Friday and your maid the other 6 days. No, boss, I didn't reverse the charges. Mr. Benny, I'm trying to get a beautiful girl into pictures. I'd like to bring her over to Warner Brothers. Could you call Jack Warner for me? But you said you knew him. Then how about Harry Warner? How about Mrs. Warner? Would you like to try it for somebody else? Monogram or Republic? Boss, don't you know anybody since the horn blows at midnight? Take it to the casting director? Oh, okay. Thanks, boss. Goodbye. Well, Clooney, it's all set. Mr. Bentley has sent us to see the casting director over at Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's wonderful, Rochester. Tell me, do you think they'll remember Mr. Benny made a picture at Warner Brothers?
Remember? Honey, they can't forget it. There isn't that much hair wick.
As casting director, I'll have to ask you a few questions. Tell me, Miss Watson, you sing?
Yes.
You dance?
Yes.
Wonderful. You're a very pretty girl, Miss Watson, and I just happen to be casting a musical. You'll be perfect for one of the parts. I don't think there'll be any trouble about salary.
There'd better not be. I didn't have to bring her to Warner Brothers. I could have taken her to MGM Studio, but this one was recommended to me by a close associate of mine.
Really? And who recommended the Warner Brothers to you?
Mr. Jack Benny.
Jack Benny? The deal's off. I can't do a thing for you.
Why not?
At this studio, Jack Benny is a naughty word. Good day.
Will Rochester, how'd you and Clooney come out at Warner Brothers?
Right through a door marked exit, Mr. Stevenson.
Gosh, didn't you tell him Benny sent you?
That was the only mistake I made. Next time I'm going to say I came through the courtesy of Franco-American.
Well, Rochester, this I can tell you. Through the courtesy of Franco-American, you get the best-tasting spaghetti you ever put in your mouth. Yes, Franco-American spaghetti is so delicious that 9 out of 10 who taste it prefer Franco-American to any other ready-to-serve spaghetti. In fact, thousands brought up on home-cooked spaghetti now serve Franco-American exclusively. It not only saves hours in preparing compared with the hard-to-cook kind, but Franco-American has a flavor all its own. Here's why. Franco-American uses the best spaghetti ever produced and blends it with a secret sauce made of 11 different ingredients, including generous portions of nippy, well-aged cheddar cheese and juicy, rich, red, sun-sweet tomatoes. Even if you knew the secret recipe and could get all of the best ingredients, you still couldn't prepare a spaghetti of comparable quality at anywhere near the price. Yes, Franco-American costs less to serve than the home-cooked kind. Buy some tomorrow. See why 9 out of 10 who try it prefer Franco-American spaghetti to any other ready-cooked spaghetti.
This is a fine state of affairs, Rochester. You get thrown out of Warner Brothers. And to think I hocked a television set to get Clooney a low-cut gown.
Well, Clooney's the same as television. After looking at her all day in a low-cut gown, I'm out of focus.
Listen in tomorrow to The Rochester Show, starring Eddie Anderson, brought to you the same time every night, Tuesday through Saturday, by Franco-American Spaghetti. The Rochester Show is directed by Tony Stanford and written by Charlie Isaacs, Hal Goodman, and Ben Starr. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Day.
Every song that I sing, I'll sing to you, and I hope I can bring you a smile or two.
Dennis Day is brought to you by Palmolive Soap and Palmolive Shave Creams. Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave. And now, here is Dennis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, the Alumni Society of my alma mater, Manhattan College, is holding its annual dinner in the Grand Ballroom of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York. Since I can't be there in person, I would like to be there in voice and spirit by singing for the student body and alumni of Manhattan one of our college songs, Manhattan Men.
Manhattan men, see your alma mater beckoning. Look once again to the day of joyous reckoning, when she will stand on the heights a mighty conqueror. Each battle brings her further to the fore. Let us lend a helping hand. Go onward, onward, Manhattan men. We must never stop until the banner of our college waves at the very top. Time will make our conquest complete, something for all the world to see. So green and white we'll fight with all our might for this victory. Onward, onward, Manhattan men, we must never stop until the banner of our college waves at the very top. Time will make our conquest complete, something for all the world to see. So green and white we'll fight with all our might for this victory.
Do you shave with a lather or brushless shave cream? Palmolive Shave Cream comes both ways, and whichever method you use, you'll find the new Palmolive Shave Cream way to shave means more comfortable, actually smoother shaves for 3 men out of every 4.
Yes, 3 men out of every 4 get more comfortable, actually smoother shaves. The Palmolive Shave Cream way.
It's a fact, men, not a promise. 2,548 men tried the new Palmolive way to shave, and no matter how they shaved before, 79% found beards cut easier, 75% less razor pull, 69% closer shaves, 80% smoother feeling skin.
And 3 out of every 4 got more comfortable, actually smoother shaves.
Just get Palmolive Shave Cream, either brushless or lather, and do this. Wash your face with soap and water. Rinse. Then soap face thoroughly again. Do not rinse. Work Palmolive Shave Cream upward into beard to get the full benefit of Palmolive Shave Cream's beard conditioning effect. Then shave.
That's all. But remember, Palmolive Shave Cream, either brushless or lather, offers proof of more comfortable, actually smoother shaves for 3 men out of every 4.
Few of us achieve the prominence of a mention in the public press. Our young hero, Dennis Day, made it once when he became the only man in the history of Weaverville Public School to enter the 8th grade under the GI Bill of Rights. But real fame has always eluded him until today. He's just burst open the front door of the Anderson house in a state of wild excitement to come face to face with his astonished girlfriend, Mildred.
Mildred, the evening paper, is it here? My picture's in it, Mildred, my picture.
Your picture?
Yeah, for the Weaverville Safety Campaign, to cut down street accidents. You see, some people cross streets outside of the safety zone, some cross against the lights, some cross diagonally from corner to corner.
But why did they take your picture?
I was the first person to do everything wrong at the same time.
So that's it.
Sure, I'm famous. I've been chosen the pedestrian most likely to decease. Isn't it wonderful?
Well, yes, I guess so. How long has this safety campaign been going on?
Oh, it started this morning. The mayor began it himself with speeches at the corner of 3rd and Elm from the hospital.
Gee. 2 speeches in one morning?
Well, it was really one speech continued. While he was speaking at the corner of 3rd and Elm, a car hit him.
Well, the paper's right here. Let's see now.
Oh, look, right there on page 1. Read that caption.
Do you wish to visit a cemetery permanently? All you have to do is walk across the street in the criminally careless manner of Dennis Day, 22, whose photo appears above.
That's me.
At first, Mr. Day was believed drunk or crazy, but it was later learned he walks this way all the time.
I'm going to send clippings to all my friends.
Well, they've certainly given you quite... Why, Dennis.
What?
Well, the picture, it isn't your picture at all.
Oh, Mildred, you must be mistaken.
I'm not. Look. Your hair's black, this man's a blonde. You're clean-shaven, he has a mustache. You have a small nose, and he has a great big one. And you're wearing a blue suit, he has on a gray one with a Dewey button in the lapel. Don't you see?
Gee, you're right. It can't be me. I'm a Democrat.
Of course it isn't you. They ran a picture of another man over your story.
Well, that's a fine thing. I nearly get myself killed, and they give someone else credit for it.
Yes, I know how you feel. Well, you were almost famous, Dennis.
Yeah, darn it anyway. I was going to use that picture to start a couple of scrapbooks for our children.
Gee, do you really think we'll have some someday, Dennis?
Why not? I saw some swell ones for sale at Woolworth's the other day. Well, I'll see you at dinner.
Dinner will be ready as soon as Dennis comes down, Herbert.
Very well, my feeder bearer.
Anything new in the paper tonight?
Well, I see some fella stuffed his wife into a trunk and threw it in the lake.
Oh, my, isn't that awful?
Yeah, it'll probably spoil the fishing for months. Oh, well, that's, Why, great Scott.
What's the matter?
Why, right here on page 18, there's a picture of Dennis Day.
Dennis Day? What's his picture doing in the paper?
Listen to what it says under it. Still missing after 4 years' search, Schuyler Van Rensselaer, heir to the great Van Rensselaer sardine fortune, pictured above, is believed amnesia victim.
You mean... Oh, Herbert, it can't be Dennis Day.
Well, it must be. It's his picture.
Amnesia. So that's it. I knew no one could act like Dennis does and be normal. Oh, that poor, unfortunate, dear, sweet, rich boy.
Gosh, so it isn't our Dennis Day at all. He's Schuyler Van Rensselaer, who was in the fish business.
I knew there was something about that boy.
Really? Well, I've stood very close to him, and I never noticed it.
Read the rest of it, Herbert.
It just says that young Van Rensselaer was born November 17th, 1927. His brother and sister are offering $10,000 reward to anyone successfully aiding him in the recovery of his memory.
10,000? Herbert, we've got to bring back that boy's memory. My maternal instincts have been aroused.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Oh, I hear him coming downstairs.
Now, we've got to be careful how we handle this, Herbert.
Very well, Pupsy.
Hello, Mrs. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, is dinner ready yet?
Dennis, I want to talk to you.
To me, Mrs. Anderson?
Yes. Do you know who you are, my boy?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Offhand, I'd say I was me.
You're wrong. You're not you at all.
I'm not?
No.
Gee, then who was that bleeding when I cut myself shaving this morning?
Dennis, try to think. Do you remember your father?
Oh, sure. I met him through my mother.
Did he ever discuss with you what you'd be doing in your later life?
Well, let's see. I do remember my father saying he hoped I'd grow up.
Yes?
That's all.
Well, we'll try a new tack. Do you remember where you were born?
Mother told me it was in a small town out west.
Wrong. You were born in New York City.
Oh, well, anyway, it was in 1926.
Wrong again. It was 1927.
In June?
November.
Gee, Mother didn't know much about me, did she?
Herbert, you try.
Yes, Pupsy. Now, Dennis, I want you to concentrate.
Yes, sir. On what?
Sardines.
Yes, sir.
Are you concentrating on sardines?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now tell me, who is your father?
A sardine?
Want it back again, Pupsy?
Yes. Dennis, I want you to think about your family. Your mother and father and your brother and sister.
I have a brother and sister?
Of course.
Gee, and that sneaky doctor never said a word to my mother about it.
Dennis, not only have you a brother and sister, but you have millions and millions of dollars in your own name.
Boy, my next letter home is sure going to be newsy, isn't it?
I give up. No, wait a minute. You know how loss of memory is always cured in the movies, a sudden blow on the head?
Yeah.
Hand me the fire tongs, Herbert.
Pupsy, no, you can't. We're not sure he is Schuyler Van Rensselaer.
So, if he's Dennis Day, have I lost anything?
No, Pupsy, there must be another way.
Yeah, please, Mrs. Anderson. It's none of my business what you do to somebody else's head, but let's not fool with it while I'm wearing it.
We'll continue this day in the life of Dennis Day in just a moment. Meanwhile, here's Dennis to sing his RCA Victor recording of Streets of Laredo.
I was just rambling through the streets of Laredo, just another stranger that day on my way to anywhere. She was wandering through the streets of Laredo. Those adobe walls so old turned to gold I saw there. She smiled at me passing by, and her eyes spent a moment with mine. Then all at once, seems the view took a new kind of shine. Now we never will roam from the streets of Laredo. Never want to lose the spell, for here we fell in love. It was here we fell in love.
Well, because of a transposed newspaper photograph, the Andersons are convinced that Dennis Day is really Schuyler Van Rensselaer suffering from amnesia. It's the following morning now, and after a rather trying breakfast, our confused young hero has arrived at his place of work, Don Juan Alvarez Espinosa's antique shop. Sam Jacoby, proprietor.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Jacoby.
Hello, honey boy. Say, what's the matter there? Why are you looking all of a sudden like such a sad satchel?
It's just that I'm all mixed up, Mr. Jacoby. I'm so confused, I don't know where I am.
Oh, for a minute you scared me there. I thought maybe you weren't yourself this morning.
That's just the trouble. Maybe I'm not.
What is?
I said maybe I'm not myself at all. Maybe I'm somebody else.
Excuse me, could you try it again a little slower? Remember, as far as I'm concerned, you got an accent.
You heard me right, Mr. Jacoby. I said maybe I'm not Dennis Day.
Well, if you ain't Dennis Day, who are you?
Schuyler Van Rensselaer the third.
The third? Who's on first?
Oh, it's nothing to joke about, Mr. Jacoby. I'm supposed to be Schuyler Van Rensselaer the third, the heir to a sardine fortune.
Now, let me get this straight, honey boy. You just found out you ain't Dennis Day the schnook at all. You're really Schuyler Van Rensselaer, the molted millionaire?
Yeah, isn't it awful?
Well, some days it goes like that, you know.
But Mrs. Anderson says I've got to recover my true identity. She wants me to go to a psychiatrist.
So what good is a foot doctor going to do you?
No, not a foot doctor. One of those fellows who puts you on a couch and explores your mind.
Oh, a pediatrician!
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my wife's got a beauty. He's been exploring her brain for 6 months now and hasn't found a thing. I'll call Dr. Hopkins, right?
Gee, that's swell, Mr. Jacoby. And if I really turn out to be Schuyler Van Rensselaer, well, I promise you you'll be up to your ears in sardines.
Come in, my boy. Come right in. So you're the young man who thinks he's Dennis Day. That's your trouble, is it?
Yes, sir, and I've got it bad.
Yes. Well, we'll soon have you all straightened out. Now, suppose we get a little of your background right back to your infancy.
Yes, sir. Boy.
Yes, I know. Was there anything unusual or odd about your babyhood?
Well, half the time I couldn't see.
Couldn't see?
That's right. It was on account of my mother being so nearsighted.
Oh, heredity, huh?
No, sir. It was just that half the time she put the rubber pants on the wrong end of me.
I see. Perhaps we should take a somewhat later age. Say about the time you first became aware of girls.
I beg your pardon?
You realize there is an age at which young men become acutely aware of girls, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir, and I can hardly wait.
Obviously, schizophrenic.
Again, I would like to beg it?
Schizophrenic. Split personality.
Oh.
You have submerged your true character, hard-drinking, woman-chasing Van Rensselaer, beneath the assumed character of Dennis Day, who is just the opposite. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, yes, sir. It's just that I don't know what you're talking about.
In other words, your amnesia is caused by an inner revulsion to your true self.
Ooh.
Now, I can confirm my findings with a very simple test. Have you ever heard of word associations?
Oh, no, sir. But if they're anything like pyramid clubs, count me out.
I'm referring to a psychopathological test. Or to try and put it more understandably, neurasthenic.
You missed.
Well, in any event, I'll give you a word. Now, you're to tell me the word you associate with it. Ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Black.
Black.
Black? I thought you'd say white.
Oh, we just met, Doctor. I don't want to start an argument with you.
It isn't an argument. It's a test. If I said boy, you'd say girl. Now, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Chair.
Thanks, but I've already got one.
Chair is the word. You're supposed to say table. What's the matter with you?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
I'll try it again, son.
Okay, try it again.
I am trying it again. Please listen, son.
I am listening, Pop.
Son is the word I gave you. You're supposed to tell me the word it makes you think of.
Oh, moon.
At last. You finally understand what I mean. Are you ready now?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Bad.
That isn't the word!
I'm so sorry.
I'll give you the word now. Table.
Pat Sullivan.
What has Pat Sullivan to do with table?
Oh, he's a fellow I used to know. He was always under it.
Well, so much for word association.
Yes, sir.
In fact, for tests of all kinds. Young man, there's only one practical treatment for your condition. Hypnosis.
Hypnosis?
Yes. If you will permit me to put you into an induced hypnotic trance, as distinguished from the one you're in now, I believe I can reactivate your subconscious and restore your identity.
You mean you're going to hypnotize me?
Exactly, if you'll permit it.
Well, there is a fortune waiting for me, I hear. Go ahead.
Very well. Now look deep into my eyes.
Yes, sir.
That's it. You're getting drowsy. Your senses are becoming numb. You're falling asleep. Asleep. Sleep.
Hey, Doc, wake up.
Huh? Pardon me. Sometimes it goes into reverse. And look into my eyes again.
Yes, sir.
Deep into my eyes. You're growing drowsy. Languorous. That's it. You're falling asleep. Sleep. Sleep. You're now in a hypnotic state. Listen to me. You are not Dennis Day.
I am not Dennis Day.
Your name is Schuyler Van Rensselaer.
My name is Schuyler Van Rensselaer.
You are... You're a playboy, mad about women.
I'm a playboy, mad about women.
You like to take a drink now and then. When you awaken, you will go home, but remember nothing of Dennis Day. You will be Schuyler Van Rensselaer, the playboy. And now, awaken.
$5 and still no sign of him, Poopsie. Are you sure the boy's all right?
Of course he's all right, Herbert. Mr. Jacoby told me on the phone he'd send him to Dr. Hopkins, the psychiatrist.
And you really think he'll come back here thinking he's Schuyler Van Rensselaer?
I do.
Well, if I know Dennis, there's a much better chance that Dr. Hopkins will go back to Vienna thinking he's Dennis Day.
Oh, you're always fine.
Oh, that may be he. I'll go. Dennis.
The name is Schuyler, Shorty. Who are you?
Why, don't you know me? I'm Herbert Anderson.
Glad to meet you, Herbie. Is that all there is of you, or are you standing in a manhole?
My goodness gracious.
Oh, there you are, Dennis. You're back.
Hey, who's this character, Shorty? Your mother?
What?
Skip it, babe.
Babe. Why, you never called me anything but Mrs. Anderson in your life.
Well, don't crowd your luck.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, how's about a little drink, hey?
A drink? Of what?
Oh, who cares? I'm Schuyler Van Rensselaer, 5602 North Elm Street, and I've switched everything. Give me some Kentucky Tavern and leave the roof on.
Oh, my soul and body.
Mother, have you heard of it? Oh, there you are.
Well, hiya, baby. Let's neck. Come on, get your coat, kid. We'll go for a drive in the park.
I don't want to drive in the park.
Hey, look, babe, with me, you not only get to drive in the park, you get to park in the drive.
Mother, what's come over Dennis? Why, he's become a terrible ladies' man.
Yes, sir. All I need now is a terrible lady. Hey, what do you say? I'll even take you up for a little spin in my private plane.
You will not.
Don't be jealous, Fatso. Tell you what. I tell you what. You get on your broom and we'll have a race, huh?
How could you be so awful? You ought to be ashamed.
Now, don't race your motor, Toots. I'm feeling give-in-y if you're feeling give-outy.
Oh, you thief! Take this!
What? Oh, Mildred. Mrs. Anderson. What? Where am I?
Uh-oh. I think the enchanted hour is over.
Why, you're home, Dennis. What on earth happened to you?
Gosh, I don't know. The last I remember, I was in Dr. Hopkins' office. He hypnotized me.
Hypnotized you? Then you're not Schuyler Van Rensselaer?
Oh, please don't start that again. I'm Dennis Day, Mrs. Anderson. Honest, I am. Mildred, did I act funny?
I should say you did, and the things you had nerve enough to say to my mother.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going down to that doctor's office right now and tell him off plenty.
And I'm going with you, Dennis.
Are you going to tell him off too, Mr. Anderson?
No, sir. I'm going down for a treatment.
And now, here is a very important announcement. Want to win $49,000 in cash? That's right, $49,000 in cash. The first prize offered by the makers of Palmolive soap in their big, exciting 49 Gold Rush contest.
Second prize, $4,900. And there are 4,949 other cash prizes.
What a chance to win $100,000 in cash prizes, and it's easy to enter. Simply finish this sentence, I like Palmolive soap because, in 25 words or less. That's all. Just 25 words or less to finish the sentence, I like Palmolive soap because. Then mail your entry right away with a Palmolive soap wrapper. Easy, isn't it?
And remember, thousands will strike it rich in the big 49 Gold Rush contest. Enter as often as you like. Get entry blanks and complete rules from your dealer, or send your entries on plain paper with your name and address and dealer's name and address, plus one Palmolive wrapper for each entry. Mail to Gold Rush Contest, Box 49, New York 8, New York. Better write that down. Gold Rush Contest, Box 49, New York 8, New York.
Get Palmolive soap right away to help win a lovelier complexion and try for your share of the $100,000 in cash prizes. With the music of Charles Dant and the orchestra, here's Dennis to sing the popular ballad, So in Love.
Strange, dear, but true, dear, when I'm close to you, dear, the stars fill the sky, so in love with you am I. desert me. I'm yours till I die. So in love, so in love, so in love with you, my love. Am I.
Good night, everybody.
Tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Only Luster Cream brings you Kay Dumit's magic blend. Glamorizes your hair as you wash it. Yes, tonight, you can be a
Dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
Listen again next week for Colgate's Hour of Fun, Judy Canova, followed by Dennis Day. And for another great comedy program, hear Blondie next Wednesday evening over your favorite NBC station. This is Vern Smith speaking. Good night.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The Halls of Ivy, starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Colman.
Good evening, this is Ronald Colman.
And Benita Coleman.
And now, the Halls of Ivy. Welcome again to Ivy College, that is, in the town of Ivy, USA. For many families, breakfast is a small pandemonium, filled with a clatter of cups, a confusion of tongues, desperate last gulps of scorching coffee, and a mad dash for the bus station. But for Dr. William Todhunter Hall, president of Ivy, and his wife, Victoria, it's usually an unruffled few moments put aside for their private lives. This morning, for instance, Victoria is arranging a bowl of flowers on the table, while Dr. Hall is thoughtfully staring at a highly polished spoon.
There. Now. Nothing like a few well-rained ranunculars. What's the plural of ranunculars, Toddy?
Oh, you could express it in 3 different ways. 1, Latin, ranunculi. 2, English, ranunculuses. 3, idiomatic. Some of these pretty whatchamacallits.
I'll take the idiotic way. But they do make a pretty blink, don't they?
They do indeed. Yes, they start the morning off very well. But it is the picture of Victoria, well and beautifully arranged in the opposite chair, which sustains me for the rest of the day.
Oh, darling, I do feel lovely and conceited. And at breakfast, too.
Where my emotions about you are concerned, the time of day is unimportant. My heart ticks away, but it strikes no hours. Besides, I've never subscribed to the popular belief, originated by some sour cynic and perpetuated by comic strip artists, that the breakfast table is necessarily a battleground, strewn with bad manners and resounding with the clash of personalities.
Well, that's because you are a dear love.
As my father used to say, the world would be a happier place if people would start the day by drinking a toast to someone instead of just eating it with someone.
That's a wonderful idea, the toast. Here's to William, the light of my life, from a woman who's extremely happy that I happen to be his wife.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, the meter and the grammar may be a little bit ragged, but the sentiment is sincere.
The meter doesn't matter as long as I did.
Did what?
Meter.
I'm glad you did, too. And not to interrupt a nice sentimental conversation, may I ask why you keep staring into that teaspoon? What's the matter with it? Do you want a clean one?
No. It's quite clean and handsomely polished. No, I was merely fascinated by the optical illusions caused by the reflections in a concave surface. In it, I am upside down. It's very refreshing.
Refreshing?
Yes. It's a matter of perspective, of course, but any device which can show things in a new light is both stimulating and therapeutic.
Oh, you mean if the world could see itself reflected in its teaspoons, it might stop waving its knives?
Something like that, yes. And then, too, there is a school of thought which believes that standing on one's head early in the morning is stimulating to the brain. It's good for...
Yeah, well, I'll toss you to see who walks to the front door on his hands. Have you got a quarter?
No, so I'll volunteer.
Yeah, well, if it's a salesman working his way through college, tell him so away.
Well, Professor Warren, it's good to see you. Come in.
Well, I know it's an unholy hour to call, Doc, but I'm on a tight schedule today. Morning, Mrs. Hall.
Well, hello, stranger. Come in and join us for a cup of coffee.
All right, Mrs. Hall, but only 4 teaspoons full. And pull down the shades. I've already had my allowance this morning. That housekeeper of mine counts every sip I swallow. I think she's in the secret service of my insurance company.
And how is the faithful Miss Burgess?
Minding my business as usual. How are you, nice people?
Much better now that our favorite history professor has finally decided to pay us a visit. Here's your coffee.
Oh, a full cup. Thanks for contributing to my delinquency. I never realized how much I missed you two, since I've been fighting with the publishers of that nauseating monstrosity of mine, which appeared under the revolting pen name of Llewellyn Lafayette. Now they want me to answer all his fan mail. Gee.
Oh, but I understood you had become reconciled to your triumph as a popular novelist.
Oh, yes, but who am I kidding? I'm a glorious failure, wallowing in a disgusting success.
Ah, and you love it, and it obviously agrees with you, too.
Yes. Now, tell us, Professor, how was your lecture tour this summer?
Well, Doc, after autographing the umpteenth thousandth copy of The Heart of Passion, I kidded myself into believing that the honking gander that was old Professor Warren had suddenly become the singing swan that is Llewellyn Lafayette. Say, Mrs. Hall, before I forget what I really came for, have you got a lace tablecloth I can borrow?
A lace tablecloth? Why, well, of course, and you're more than welcome to it.
And maybe 4 fancy napkins? I know I'm more the arsenic than the old lace type. But frankly, I didn't know where else to go on such short notice.
Well, I'm glad you came to us, but you sound so desperate about it.
Yes, are you testing out a new washing powder to win a prize? You know, I like Quincy's Rincy's because in 25 words or less.
No, it's nothing as easy as that. I'm giving an unexpected dinner tomorrow night, and I need you two even more than your tablecloth.
Oh, that's an irresistible invitation, Professor. Thank you.
Well, about 7, black tie, if I can find mine. Well, so on, folks. I got to meet a plane.
Goodbye, Professor.
Well, how about that new pinstripe suit and the flower in his buttonhole?
Yes.
And the haircut? You don't suppose he's beginning to believe his own publicity, do you?
Well, something's happened. I'm familiar with his contempt for convention, but this anxiety of his about a lace tablecloth is it's a new and baffling facet of his character.
Yeah, he was so anxious about it, he forgot to take it with him. I have finally met an absent-minded professor.
And this dinner seems to be an affair of state.
Yeah.
Vicky, I wonder if it could be his publisher who is coming.
Yeah, well, absent-minded professor regains memory. You get the door, Toddy. I'll get the tablecloth.
Ah, your tablecloth, I presume, Professor.
Yep. Guess I left my head at home this morning. Doc, I used to think I remembered everything. Now I realize I just ignored everything I forgot.
Yes, man doesn't realize how much he is indebted to his subconscious. He can do something without knowing why, and then find several splendid reasons for having done it. It may account for many of history's heroes.
Here you are, Professor, and the napkin.
Thanks, Mrs. Hall. It's not going to be a party, mind you. In fact, just you two and, Fern.
Fern?
Mrs. Winthrop.
Mrs. Winthrop. Have we met her?
No, I was going to keep her a secret until the psychological moment, but I guess I better prepare you for the shock. Don't ask me how it happened, but I've got me a lady friend.
Why, that's wonderful. wonderful, Professor Warren.
I wouldn't call it shocking, but it is a delightful surprise. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. In a way, you might say it was a forgotten moment in my past that caught up with me in, of all places, Salina, Kansas. I was there on my lecture tour. Fern's quite the literary light out there, you know. President of the Byron Society, no less. A widow.
Well, this is the time to go widow shopping just before Christmas.
Charming woman. Seems to grasp things. Insight, sympathy, genuine enthusiasm. Never known a woman quite like Fern. Which could be explained by the fact that I've never known very many women. Oh, but Fern... Wait till you see her.
We'll be looking forward to meeting her.
Is she staying here and I belong?
Huh? Oh, yes. She's visiting with relatives, and that is, I persuaded her to stop over at Ivy and see our campus, and... What? What'd you say?
Well, would you like me to wrap up the tablecloth and napkins?
Oh, no, I haven't time, Mrs. Hall. If any of the nosy neighbors see me, I'll just tell them I've started to take in washing. Wouldn't startle them half as much as the truth.
Go on, Professor. Well, Mrs. Winthrop explained everything.
Yes. This would be the place to say, well, what do you know? If either one of us ever said, well, what do you know?
Yeah.
Which neither one of us would be caught dead saying. Which is the first time I ever said caught dead.
Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me.
I suppose I'm slightly staggered by the news that the last of the incorrigible bachelors is thrown in the sponge.
Yeah, it looks like the last of the tobacco-chewing professors is going to have to switch to bubble gum.
But Professor Warren, he was the one man who always seemed to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, a self-contained entity. Ah, Vicky, I'm afraid he's got it bad.
If your it refers to what I think it refers to, and you got it bad enough, it isn't bad. It's good.
The halls of Ivy, where Dr. and Mrs. Hall are in Professor Warren's parlor, becoming acquainted with his lady friend, Mrs. Fern Winthrop.
Well, it's been a long time since you've been in my house, folks.
Joseph has told me so much about you two that I feel as though I've always known you.
Well, since Professor Warren always unvarnishes the truth, Mrs. Winthrop, that leaves us without a pretense to stand on.
Yeah, it puts it as a disadvantage. Told you all about us and kept you a big secret.
Well, Mrs. Hall, you know I suffer from a kind of natural shyness. Almost said diffidence, but diffidence is always used to explain someone's bad manners.
Oh, your shyness is one of your sweetest qualities, Joseph. It's what I remembered most about you.
Fern sees me through the wrong end of the telescope. It was way back more than 40 years ago.
I was just a mere wide-eyed child. I remember it as vividly as though it were yesterday. Isn't it wonderful how fate kept us apart over the years just so we could meet again at the age of discretion? I don't believe that fate is really blind. Do you, Dr. Hall?
It may be due to my own blindness, Mrs. Winthrop, but I think that the best way to keep fate on your side is to have faith.
Oh, good.
Well, fate sure lowered the boom on us tonight. Of all times, Burgess has to go visit a sick sister or something.
And now, Joseph, tell them the truth.
Huh?
They might as well know that your housekeeper simply walked out on you. Mrs. Hall, you have no idea how insolent she was to him. If there's anything that I loathe, it's a woman who bullies a man. Oh, Joseph, dear, I meant the silver leaf ashtrays, not those old chipped glass things.
Couldn't find them, Fern.
Well, never mind, dear. I always say that if a man can't be the master in his own house, well, then I think... But there I go. I haven't let anyone else get a word in edgewise. When I get started on the subject of Joseph Warren, I never know when to stop.
Oh, you needn't stop, Mrs. Winthrop. He's one of our favorite subjects, too. With the added advantage that you can discuss him in mixed company.
Oh, Doc, if I'm going to be in the fishbowl, everybody else has got to dive in it with me.
Yeah, fishbowl. Well, that's it. I knew something was missing in this room. What happened to it, Professor?
The fish were getting tired of looking at me anyway, so I threw them out. Along with that old leather chair of mine.
Mrs. Hall, the minute I stepped into this room, I could sense the conflict. Why, that hideous old chair quarreled with everything else in here.
Mostly me. Ferns made me realize that chair was the story of my life. Comfortable, hide-bound, and sagging.
Joseph this summer, he kept apologizing for his age, and I said age was only a habit. Now, that chair was one of his habits. Why, Joseph has a whole new life ahead of him, and I don't just mean because of his novel. There's real poetry in Joseph.
Oh, I don't claim to be any Lord Byron, but I used to be pretty good at limericks. Wrote one about you once, Doc.
Really?
Can you remember it?
Can a mother forget her children? Certainly I remember it. Will Hall, Ph.D. and M.A., solves difficult problems each day to keep his school in the groove, which just goes to prove he's the will that proves there's a way.
Oh, very good. Very flattering, Professor. And it's refreshing to be the subject of a limerick that can be quoted without sending the children out of the room.
I'm so glad you mentioned Byron, Joseph. I can't wait to talk to you people about him. He's my subject, you know. I can quote him for hours and hours when I get started. People must be starving. Of course, I hadn't expected to cook tonight, but when that woman left so unexpectedly...
Isn't there something I can do to help, Mrs. Winthrop?
I used to slice bread quite neatly until the bakers in a fit of jealousy started selling it already cut.
No, thank you. It's all in the oven. It'll be done in 15 minutes or so. But I do have a few canopies. Will you excuse me? And Joseph.
Yes?
Would you mind helping me, dear?
Make yourself at home, folks. Coming, Fern.
I love that old leather chair, Toddy. It was the nicest thing in the whole room.
Yes, it was comfortable, wasn't it? And Burgess was a very valuable woman.
I miss the fish, too. Such good little things. They never jumped up in your lap to have their ears scratched. Oh, dear. I hope first impressions won't last.
Oh, Vicky, I'm reminded of a scene in my parents' living room when I brought one of my first girls home to meet them. Of course, mind you, it never amounted to anything.
Shouldn't have to explain, darling, at this late date.
No. But I was both apprehensive and defensive. I so wanted my mother and father to approve.
Now, come on. What did they do?
Nothing. Very effectively and with great charm, they did nothing, and it broke the spell. I learned then that non-intervention in matters romantic is the highest form of diplomacy, and that the course of true love is not banked on the sharp turns. Mrs. Winthrop, that what was most remarkable was that despite his impatience and slovenly technique, Byron's temperament and vigor gave his verse a timbre all its own. Take the momentum of his anapests, for instance. I enter thy garden of roses. Or better still, the Assyrian came down like the wolf on the fold.
And his cohorts were gleaming in purple and gold, and the sheen of their spears was like stars on the sea.
Well, bravo, Mrs. Hall. Oh, that was a lovely delivery. You should have gone on the stage.
I gave it some thought at one time.
You should obey those impulses, dear. Joseph, do you remember the first time I read that poem to you?
Yep, I remember.
And best of all, of course, is the one that every woman wishes was written for her. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies.
And all its best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes.
Thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies.
Oh, what fun! You see, Joseph, this is what I meant by the companionship I said you needed.
Well, Fern, I guess I'm not as pig-headed about poetry as I used to be.
Ah, Mrs. Winthrop, you are a remarkable woman. You have accomplished the impossible. I have been able to discuss and debate a good many things with my friend here, but every time I mentioned a poet, especially one of the romantics, the wall of indifference became impenetrable.
Congratulations, Professor, and welcome to our Association for Incurable Romantics.
Well, we are certainly all in tune with each other tonight, aren't we? Through poetry, we are part of the larger harmonies around us. Poetry helps to brighten up the world for us, doesn't it, Dr. Hall?
Yes. Yes, a poet himself once observed that if you take an old, dull, brown penny and rub it vigorously with wet sand, the penny will come out a bright gold color, looking as clean and new as the day it was minted. Poetry has the same effect on words and our world as wet sand on pennies.
Is that this early on Sunday morning? Shall I get it, Toddy?
No, darling, it must be the paper boy, and I've the change right here.
All right.
Why, good morning, Professor Warren.
Wet sand, old dull brown pennies.
Oh, come in.
I don't want to be brightened up. Well, good morning, Mrs. Hall.
Well, sit down, Professor. You look tired.
Well, I ought to be. Spent most of the night swimming the Hellespont. Or rather, I was Lord Byron. But I ain't Lord Byron, so I turned back. And then I got stuck in miles and miles of wet sand. And I woke up and it was 3 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I came over to tell you folks that I woke up.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Professor.
Good morning. I want to know one thing, Doc. Are you trying to marry me off to that wet sand?
Oh, I'll have to parry that question with another, Professor. Why do you assume that I should be trying to marry you off to anybody?
Doc, what happened to me? Does the brain really soften when the arteries start to harden? I guess if I had any blood left in me, I'd be blushing with shame.
Well, what for?
The only thing worth blushing for. Sheer stupidity. For not recognizing that the spots in front of my eyes were just plain dust without any stars in them. And for leading on a kind and pleasant woman. I can only redeem myself now by saving her from an unhappy life. With me.
Mrs. Winthrop seemed to be extremely happy with you last night.
Not when I took my charm off.
What did you do?
I just stopped being Llewellyn Lafayette and became Joe Warren again. First, I told her what I thought of Byron. It was plenty, but not enough. Then I told her I wanted my bad habits back. Old leather chair, for one, and the fish. But what really threw her was when I took out my plug of chewing tobacco. You see, I got honest again, Doc. You folks know that I'm a pretty cranky old man when I'm a true self.
Oh, we don't know anything of the kind, frankly. I agree with what Mrs. Winthrop said about you.
What?
Well, you do have poetry in you. How you express it is another matter. But I've learned that if one looks over the wall, however high and insurmountable it may seem, one will always find the garden in the heart of any man.
Well, maybe, Doc. But we don't all grow roses, do we? Maybe some of us just have a small backyard with one shade tree and have grown so used to it alone that we don't know how to share it anymore. Well, so long, folks.
Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye, Professor. And we're glad you're back.
Thanks. So maybe you two didn't have anything to do with saving me and Fern from a fate worse than. But I want to thank you anyway. because I think maybe you did. And to quote Byron for the last time, maybe I am ashes where I once was fire. But when you get along toward winter, there's nothing like ashes to keep you from slipping.
Darling, your policy of non-intervention seems to have been a diplomatic triumph.
Yes, I've always believed that the unknown sculptor of the Venus de Milo deliberately left it incomplete.
Why?
To show the world that the goddess of love recommended a hands-off policy.
It might also show why Cupid never wears any clothes. Love should have nothing up its sleeve.
Starring Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Colman. Professor Warren is played by Arthur Q. Bryan, and Fern Winthrop was Sarah Selby. Tonight's script was written by Barbara Milton Merlin and Don Quinn.
But as we sadly start our journeys apart, a part of every heart will linger here in the sacred halls of ivy, where we've lived and learned to know that through the years we'll see you in the sweet afterglow. We'll remember halls of ivy in the sweet
And here's the Fred Allen Show, presented by the makers of Tenderleaf Tea and Shepherd Cheese. It's high time to think about your flower garden. And here's the way to get your seeds at a record-smashing bargain. Get 88 different flowers, including 12 brand new exclusive All-America Award winners. Yes, this collection is exclusive. Can't be bought in the stores. If it could, you'd pay approximately $1.55 for so many seeds of such high quality. But they're yours for only 25 cents in coin and the top from any Tenderleaf Tea package sent to Tenderleaf Tea, Box 4, New York City. You get low border flowers, medium height, tall flowers, including award-winning marigolds, zinnia, hollyhock, blooms the first year, and giant hybrids cabiosa. Get carnations, African daisies, asters, snapdragons, amaranthus, foxglove, petunias, poppies. 88, all different. And you get a booklet full of garden tips. Send one top from any Tenderleaf Tea package and only 25 cents in coin. Address Tenderleaf Tea, Box 4, New York City. Ask your grocer for Tenderleaf brand tea and send now. Offer good in USA only.
Calling Portland, calling Portland.
kiddies.
The makers of Tenderleaf Tea and Shepherd Teas present The Fred Allen Show, with Fred's guests Oscar Hammerstein and Richard Rogers, Portland Hopper, Minerva Pius, Peter Donald, Parker Fenley, the DeMarcos, Al Goodman and his orchestra, and, oh yes, Kenny Delmar.
Last Friday, ladies and gentlemen, was the first day of spring. In the spring, a young man's fancy. Tonight, we bring you a man who isn't.
Don't drag it out. Don't drag it out. Drag me out. That's it.
Here he is, Fred Allen.
Thank you. Thank you, and good evening. We could have put 2 commercials in that announcement and had a 15-minute program. Thank you, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Portland, as the farmer said to Sears and Roebuck when they delivered his Murphy bed, I'm glad you didn't forget the spring.
Oh, spring is wonderful in New York.
Yeah?
The birds, the trees, the green things.
Green things? Name me one green thing you've seen in New York City.
The St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Well, you trapped me there, thanks to your writer, didn't you? Yes, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. That was greener than a grasshopper's shin. It was I felt sure there was going to be some reaction after that. Came mostly from me, fortunately. Say, it was some parade.
Well, I couldn't get across Fifth Avenue for 6 hours.
Well, you should have done what I did.
Well, how did you get across Fifth Avenue?
Well, don't let this out. I joined the ancient order of Hibernians. I marched 4 blocks in the parade at an angle and stepped out on the other side of the street. It works every year. The joke is getting a little old, but...
Well, Mama can't understand it.
The parade?
Mama says, why is it every March 17th they let 50,000 Irishmen hold up traffic and parade down Fifth Avenue?
Do you know anyone who can stop 50,000 Irishmen?
50,000 other Irishmen.
How right you are. But tell me, Portland, what is new this week?
The flower show just finished.
Oh, did you go this year?
Yes. Mama won first prize with her milkweed.
A milkweed won first prize?
It was homogenized.
Oh. Did you see the Tom Brenneman orchid there?
Tom Brenneman orchid?
Yes. I think Mr. Brenneman sent his orchid in a hurry. There was an old lady still pinned to it. Just wanted to make sure there were people in here.
Mama Cymbidium received an honorable mention.
Cymbidium?
You didn't think I could pronounce it, did you?
Well, I didn't.
You're always sneaking words into the script trying to stick me.
Now, look, I don't know anything. I would have put a rose in there. Would have had a thorn, and the thorn could have stuck. Look, I don't know anything about flowers, Portland. I wouldn't know a hollyhock if I met one coming out of a pawn shop.
A dogwood tree a mile away.
Oh, how can you tell a dogwood?
By its bark. I'm full of comedy tonight.
You sure are full of comedy. Well, I guess things are bad all over. Georgia's down to 1 governor again. And I'm off for Allen's Alley.
What is your question tonight?
Well, recently, Dr. George Gallup held a poll to check on the public's reaction to modern inventions. Now, the question Dr. Gallup asked was, is there any invention which you wish had never been invented? And that is going to be our question tonight.
Shall we go?
As the razor said to the midget, let me show you a shortcut. Sure good to get back to Allen's Alley, Portland. Say, I guess the Senator's expecting company. I see there's an alligator barbecuing in the backyard there. Well, let's knock.
Somebody did you know what to my watches.
Yes, I know.
Claghorn's the name, Senator Claghorn, that is.
Well, Senator...
What's on your mind, son? Let's have it. I got a haul pelt. I'll have to cut and run any minute. I got to take my singing lessons. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me.
Wait a minute. Singing lessons, you say?
I'm singing with Margaret Tooman on the radio.
Oh, really?
Little old Harry asked me.
Harry, huh?
Said he'd like to hear Margaret as a duet.
A duet? Well, Senator, I didn't know that you sang.
My son, down Tallahassee way, I'm known as a one-man choir. The Swamp Soprano.
The Swamp Soprano?
I had to stop singing at revival meetings. My top notes kept tearing holes in the tent.
Really? Moody and Sankey were complaining. Well, tell me, Senator, which invention do you wish had never been invented?
Well, son, there's three inventions the South could do without.
Three inventions?
Well, there's the mule.
Yeah.
Man who invented the mule put thousands of Southern women out of work.
I see.
Then there's money.
Money?
Money is an evil invention, son. Yeah. And I'm proud to say we in the South have very little to do with it.
What is the third invention, Senator?
The alarm clock, son. The South banished that clanging contraption in 1647.
You've had no alarm clock since 1647?
No, son. That's why the South has been asleep for the last 300 years.
Well, I guess in the South, there's good snooze tonight. Now, I wonder if... I'll just skip over them and we'll come. I'll ask questions later. I wonder if Titus Moody is around.
Howdy, Bob.
Ah, Mr. Say, is that a blackboard you have there?
Yeah, I've been down in the pig pen taking inventory.
You count the hogs and mark them down on the blackboard?
Yeah, I've been a hogging and a chalking.
You have a keen wit, Mr. Moody.
You get me started, I'm a barrel of fun.
Tell me, Mr. Moody, is there any invention you wish had never been invented?
Why, I could do without the radio.
The radio, hey?
Yeah, I don't hold with furniture that talks.
No.
Talking should be left to people.
You had a distressing experience?
Yeah. Fella come through here sharpening sickles by appointment.
I see.
While he was honing my sickle, we fell to talking.
Uh-huh.
He says, Moody, he didn't know me well enough to call me Titus.
I
see. He says, Moody, put a radio in your barn. It'll perk up your fowl and cattle.
And you bought a radio?
Yeah. To my everlasting premeditated consternation.
What happened?
Why, one day all the hens' nests would be empty. Next day every nest would have 2 eggs into it.
You mean?
The hens was listening to Double or Nothing. And again, every Saturday night when that barn dance program come on, the horses and cows would be do-si-doing till all hours.
Well, no wonder you're mad at radio.
Yeah, the final blow come last night.
The final blow?
I come home. My wife's got the hit parade on. She's going out the front door.
Yeah?
She's wearing a rubber coat and galoshes and carrying an umbrella.
A rubber coat, galoshes, and an umbrella? Where was your wife going?
To see what they do in Rio on a rainy night. So
Titus can go back to bed now. Let's try this next door.
Howdy doody.
Ah, Mrs. Nussbaum. Tell me, what about this invention business?
One invention I couldn't stand, but positively it's the telephone.
The telephone? Why?
To me, the telephone is typifying the excruciating.
Excruciating?
This is a word?
Oh, yes. Excruciating is a word.
I thought maybe I am ad-libbing.
Oh, no. No, you're doing fine.
To me, sometimes it seems I'm talking with a dialect.
Oh, no. It's just your imagination. Well, tell me, Mrs. Nussbaum, why do you wish the telephone had never been invented?
Always at the wrong times. It is ringing.
How do you mean?
When my head is in the oven cooking.
Yeah?
When I'm busy making with the vacuum cleaner.
Uh-huh.
When I'm up to my neck in the washing machine.
Yeah?
Always is ringing with the telephone.
I see.
Saturday night is coming the last straw.
Well, what happened?
I am in the bathtub singing for joy.
Yes?
It's ringing as usual, the telephone.
You had to get out of the tub?
Down 2 flight stairs I'm going dripping.
Uh-huh.
I am getting madder by the stairs.
By the stairs.
Off the hook I'm snatching
touching the receiver.
Yes?
A voice is saying, you are Pensioners Val?
Uh-huh.
I am pulling out by the roots the telephone and throwing out the window.
I see.
Suddenly, from the yard, the telephone is saying, this is the pot of gold. Yay!
You lost the money?
I'm going crazy. Ever since I'm talking to myself.
You talk to yourself? What do you say to yourself?
Drop dead.
Well, that brings us to Mr. Cassidy, Shaddy. Let's try Mr. Cassidy. Let's try here.
Oh, how do you do?
Well, Mr. Cassidy, how are you tonight?
Oh, terrible.
Really?
I'm a mass of frustration. I just come from Phineas Fogarty, the psychiatrist.
Did Fogarty analyze you?
Well, he said as a boy, I fell on an axe.
You fell on an axe?
I grew up with a split personality.
Ajax, you are in bad shape.
I'm not long for this world.
Well, tell me, Mr. Cassidy, which invention could you do without?
Oh, the automobile. Sure, it's destroyed the little niceties of life.
The niceties? How?
Oh, for example, take the patrol wagon. The Tippler's town car.
The patrol, eh?
Years ago, my boy, it was a pleasure to be arrested.
A pleasure?
You stood there quietly, leaning against the officer while he rang for the paddy wagon.
Uh-huh.
It was an open wagon. Your friends could see you were being conveyed to the Hooskow.
Yes?
They could immediately arrange a monster testimonial pig's knuckle dinner, climaxed by an all-day cruise up the river to see you.
And you say the automobile has ruined this?
Oh, today you're locked in a closed van. Nobody knows who's inside. You might as well be a law-abiding citizen.
I see your point.
Well, now, last Saturday night, while indulging in a bit of liquid abandon,
yes,
me friend Renty Monaghan was apprehended.
Uh-huh.
Down the street a truck come flying. The gong was clanging. It was a dark night.
Yes.
When the truck drove away, the officer let out a shriek.
It wasn't the patrol?
Renty was locked in a good humor wagon.
Well, packed in dry ice, didn't he freeze to death?
Fortunately, he had enough alcohol in him.
You mean?
Renty was stiff, but he wasn't frozen. Goodbye, dear.
DeMarco Sisters, accompanied by Maestro Al Goodman and his Sandhog Symphonists. The DeMarco sing If This Isn't Love, girl.
A secret, I've got a little secret. If this isn't love, the whole world is crazy. If this isn't love, I'm daft as a daisy, with moons all around and cows jumping over. There's something amiss, and I'll leave my hand if this isn't love. I feel just like the apple on top of William Tell. With this I cannot grapple, because you're so adorable. If this isn't love, and winter is summer. Doink, if this isn't love, my heart needs a plumber. I'm swinging a star, I'm riding a rainbow. Ooh, there's something amiss, and I'll leave my head if this isn't love.
At this time, we pause for product identification.
One topic that never loses its fascination is good food and how to enjoy it. Maybe this is one of the Sundays when you've gone out for dinner, so you don't have a cold roast or a chicken to nibble on at supper time. Well, even if you have skipped your big weekend food shopping, you needn't be short on Sunday supper ideas if you always have Shepherd Chevelle, C-H-E-V-E-L, Chevelle cheese food on hand. It keeps well, and it's always ready to give you that Sunday night favorite, the toasted cheese sandwich. It doesn't take a minute to slice some Chevelle, put it on toast, and melt the Chevelle under the broiler. And when that sandwich comes out, all melting gold and bubbly brown, just wrap that flavor of Chevelle around your tongue. That fine, honest flavor is something that has made millions of cheese lovers turn to Chevelle, the quality cheese food. To melt, to spread, to slice. Join these Chevelle enthusiasts. Get Chevelle tomorrow in the bright red package. And always say Shefford. Shefford. Shefford for fine cheese.
That was just a snack of Oh, But I Do, played by Maestro Al Goodman and his Weehawken Ferry Philharmonic. Say, Portland.
Yes?
You think you can carry on for the rest of the program? I have to go down to night court right away.
Night court?
Yes, you know that summons I received last week? Rogers and Hammerstein are suing me. They claim that show Piccadilly I wrote for B. Lilly last Sunday was stolen from their show, Oklahoma.
Are you going on trial?
On trial. Dick Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein are my best friends, Portland. Two of the sweetest guys in the world.
But if they're suing...
Suing, it's a gag. I'll go down to night court. We'll have a good laugh. Portland, I'll see you later. I'll be back.
A dilly in the land of shilling, pence, and pounds, where a cup of bobby something smart is nobby.
Gentlemen, can't go in there. The night court's in session.
My name is Oscar Hammerstein. I'm Richard Rogers.
Mr. Hammerstein and Mr. Rogers. Well, your case is next on the docket. You can wait here in this anteroom.
Thank you.
I'll call you, gentlemen. Oscar, every time I think of that guy, Allen.
He'd steal the potato out of a baby's borscht.
If a dunker's head was turned, Allen would steal a wet donut.
The nerve of that guy taking our show Oklahoma and calling it Piccadilly.
Fortunately, we caught him red-handed.
How did you happen to tune in on Allen's program?
I was trying to get Manhattan merry-go-round. I was a little early. Allen was still on.
By the way, Dick, that Manhattan merry-go-round.
I checked, Oscar. It's nothing like our carousel.
It's nerves, I guess.
I'm on edge myself. Since we trapped Allen, I suspect every song I hear on the radio.
Dick, we can't write all the songs.
With Allen around, we can't even keep the songs we've written.
Dick, are you sure we can't lose this suit?
I'm positive, Oscar. I read about a case in Downbeat. Seems the harp player in the Philharmonic at Carnegie Hall reached out to pluck a pizzicato. His E-string was gone.
Stolen?
Yep. An old lady in the front row had cut out the harp string with the cuticle scissors. She was using the harp string for dental floss.
They caught her?
The old lady got 30 years.
30 years for just stealing a harp string. Yes, string.
Allen stole our whole show.
We've got him cold, Dick.
Oscar, how much are we suing for?
$10,000.
Let's make it a round number. 100,000.
It's all right. It's all right with me.
And a year suspended sentence. That'll frighten him.
Good. We ought to frighten him.
Oscar, let's really scare Allen.
How?
Let him serve the year.
Only a year. With good behavior, he'll be out in 8 months. In 8 months, our new show, Allegro, will be on Broadway.
Allegro? I wonder what Allen could do with Allegro.
If he's out in 8 months, we'll soon find out.
Oscar, if he gets out at all, our careers are in jeopardy.
You're right, Dick.
At least Freddie Martin waits until the composers are dead.
That's right, Dick. Why take chances? Let's make it 50 years.
Oscar, he's sneaky. He might escape. There's only one way we'll be safe. The electric chair.
The chair? Now, wait, Dick. If we give Allen the chair, how will it look? What will people say?
You're right, Oscar. What'll people say? Oscar.
Yes, Dick?
You really care what people say?
Okay, it's the chair.
Good, Oscar. Now I feel safe. Your case is next, gentlemen. Follow me. Look, Oscar. Here comes Allen now.
Oscar, Dick. Say, I got your summons, boys. What a laugh.
Let go of my hand, you pirate.
Get your hand off my lapel, you plagiarist.
Boys, you're not serious. What can I do?
Get your head shaved.
But Oscar, Dick.
Rise, please. His Honor, Judge Batista.
Order in the court.
What
What's the first case? Dr. Hammerstein versus Fred Allen. The charge... Wait a minute. Hey, are you guys the Rogers and Hammerstein who wrote all them hit shows?
Yes, Your Honor.
Gosh. To think you guys wrote Oklahoma, Carousel, that picture, State Fair. What an honor for the 3rd Precinct Court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor. Is this gentleman with you boys?
Oh, no, Your Honor. He's the defendant.
Defendant? What's that?
He's the one we're suing.
All right, what's your name, baggy face?
Fred Allen.
You look guilty to me already. Sit down.
Your Honor, I appeal.
You don't appeal to me. You sit down, Allen. Let's start the trial. Well, Mr. Hammerstein, what are the charges?
Your Honor, my partner, Mr. Rogers, and I charged the defendant, Fred Allen, with presenting on his radio program a musical sketch called Piccadilly, which was a direct steal from our show, Oklahoma.
Your Honor,
Quiet, Allen!
Your Honor.
Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty. My production of Piccadilly...
Quiet!
Your Honor.
Quiet! If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a loudmouth! Now, Mr. Rogers, are you ready to present your case?
Yes, Your Honor. First, the title song of Oklahoma.
Oh, you mean that wonderful Oklahoma where the wind comes a-raking?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Allen opened his show with Piccadilly.
Oh, that's good enough for me. It's symphonic turpitude.
Your Honor, I will admit that the melody may be similar.
Quiet, you keep quiet. Yes, Mr. Hammerstein?
Your Honor, Allen's plea is incompetent, irrelevant, and my material.
You have further proof, Mr. Hammerstein?
Yes, Your Honor. You recall our song, Sorry, with the Fringe on top?
You mean, ducks and chicks and these spiders when they take you
Yes.
out in...
This, Your Honor, is how this ballad burglar sang our song. For the cold I don't give a hoot, 'cause I'm wearing my new union suit. Yes, I'm wearing my new union suit with a hinge on the back.
Stop! This is musical treason.
But, Your Honor, let me...
Allen, shut up! If I had something on under this robe, I'd take it off and come down there and knock you flat.
Well, I couldn't be any flatter than Mr. Hammerstein singing.
Order in the court. Now, Mr. Rogers, what are you boys suing for?
Well, we're asking for $500,000.
Now, wait a minute. This is a frame-up. They've got to prove damages.
We will prove damages. Your Honor, I have a witness, Mary Snerd.
Mary Snide to the bar.
Okay, come and judge.
Mary, what is your job?
I'm head usher in the balcony at the St. James Theater where Oklahoma's playing. Matinees, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Mary, how's business been at the St. James Theater?
We've been jammed. It's been like the subway, only with a better class of people.
After Mr. Allen did Piccadilly on his radio program, what happened?
The next night, we were stuck with 80 gallons of orangeade.
In other words, business at Oklahoma fell off.
We caught a guy in the balcony cleaning chickens.
Miss Snerd, how much do you think Mr. Allen's plagiarism has cost us?
Just like you had told me to say back at the office, Mr. Hammerstein. $500,000.
I object! And you open your bazoo once more, I'm jabbing this gavel down it head first.
But, Your Honor...
I stood all I can stand. Allen to the bar.
Yes, Your Honor.
Allen, there's crimes worse than homicide, mopery, and arson. A guy who would steal the music of Oklahoma.
But, Your Honor, I'm no criminal. I'm a law-abiding citizen, Your Honor. As a boy in Boston, I was known as Honest Fred.
Honest Fred? You're from Boston?
Yes, Judge McKeester.
Are you the little honest Fred Allen who used to live back of Salt and Soul Saddle Shop?
Yes, Judge McKeester.
Honest Fred, don't you recognize me?
No, Judge.
Wait, I'll take off me toupee. There. You know me now?
Pinhead McKeester.
Hiya, Freddy, old boy.
Gosh, Pinhead, you a judge?
Yeah, what a laugh, huh?
Pinhead and the keister.
Your Honor.
Quiet, you! Hammerhead or whatever your name is.
Oscar, what did we crawl into this time?
What's happening to us should happen to Irving Berlin.
Oscar, I told you when you suggested suing Allen.
I suggested? It was your idea. I was against it.
But you said...
Quiet, you two bums! Say, Freddie, what was that song you wrote?
Oh, you mean Piccadilly?
Oh, that's terrific!
But, Your Honor, that's our song.
Yes.
Oh, Oklahoma. Hammerstein and Rogers, I ain't never seen a more fragrant piece of stealing. Your song, Oklahoma, is a direct steal from Honest Fred's song, Piccadilly. I find you two chiselers guilty.
Wait a minute, Pinhead. I'm not vindictive, Pinhead. Live and let live.
Gosh, Fred, you're a prince.
Oh, forget it, Dick.
Thanks, Fred. The way the trial is going, Dick and I might have got 20 years.
You say the word, Honest Fred, I can send these two monkeys up for life.
No, Pinhead. The world needs Rogers and Hammerstein and their songs. And I need their songs, too.
What do you want the court to do, Freddie? It's up to you.
Well, I've used their Oklahoma score. I wonder how Carousel would sound on my program.
Why don't you try it some night, Freddie?
Well, I haven't seen Carousel yet, Pinhead.
I can fix that. Rogers and Hammerstein?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court sentences you to give the defendant one ticket for your show Carousel, now playing at the Majestic Theater.
Yes, Your Honor.
Say, Pinhead.
Yeah, Freddie?
Now, look, if I'm going to steal the whole show, I'll have to have somebody with me, to help write down the music and the lyrics.
Say, that's right. Rogers and Hammerstein?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court further sentences you to go with Fred Allen and help him write down whatever he wants to steal from your show, Carousel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court's adjourned.
Before we remind you to remember to leave 2 separate keys in your shopping bags, I want to thank Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein for their visit tonight and for their many kindnesses in the past. Next week, our guest will be those pets of the 400, Max Bear and Maxie Rosenblum. Thank you, and good night. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Good night.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.